who will shortly be featured on a new album release called Rise Like.
The Saskatchewan Roughriders try to climb back to even as they meet the Eskimos at Commonwealth on TSN tonight. The Esk won game 1 and sideline quarterback star Kent Austin 3 games ago. Ron Lancaster looks to rebound from the loss last week, and John Gregory hopes to keep those Rough Riders moving in the right direction and win 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it was a great performance by Regina or a bad one by Hamilton. I have a feeling it was a combination of both, but he would like to get back on the even terms here and even up his record as you mentioned, at 2-2. Ron Lancaster, on the other hand, would like to at least get a tie for first place with the BC Lions. Of course, they play tomorrow night. It should be a good one.
Ready for the Saskatchewan Roughrider kickoff. Dave Ridgway is ready. And deep for the Edmonton Eskimos. Henry the Gizmo Williams and Craig Ellis. Short kick going to Ellis. Across the 35, across the 40, and out to the 43.
Craig Ellis with a return of 20 yards on the play.
Scrivener leading the tacklers for the Saskatchewan Roughriders, and entered Tracy Ham, ready to roll once more. Leading rusher in the Canadian Football League. The best rusher with 7 TDs to his credit already.
Yeah, that leads the league in that department with those 7 touchdowns, but I think it's the selective running by Tracy Ham that has made them so effective so far this year. Only 6 carries for him last week against BC, but 100 yards, and he has been effective with that weapon.
On first down, this is Reggie Taylor going nowhere against the tough Saskatchewan front four. Well, the Eskimos have no changes along the front line. That has been very consistent all season. Very consistent from last year, too.
It really is. Only change in the the receiving corps, rather. Marco Sinkar gets the start tonight. He played a little bit last week against BC. Of course, a great running tandem, Reggie Taylor and Big Blake Marshall.
Loss of 1, 2nd and 11, the Eskimos. And Ham is on the move early. Sliding across the 55. He has a first down. Richie Hall up to make the tackle from his left halfback spot.
Well, this is really what makes Tracy Ham so tough. You know, every defense in the league will say, well, we want to contain him. We don't want to let him get to the outside. Well, the Saskatchewan defensive ends do a good job of that. John Bankhead and Bobby Jurison, they force Ham up the middle, but he has a great lane to run through and picks up the first down. He is tough.
Eskimos on first down. Ham can't find a receiver. Sprinting to the near side. Ham looks to throw on the run and then steps out of bounds.
Takes off to a gain of 1 on the play. It'll be 2nd and 9 Eskimos.
Gary Lewis trying to bring down Tracy Ham, but he stepped out of bounds.
Saskatchewan defense tonight, they have the front four that leads the league in sacks with 14. They have been together since the start of the season. In fact, that entire defense has no changes since day 1 for them. Dave Albright in the middle. Stacey Harrison and Larry Hogue. Watch for Larry Hogue tonight. He's in our featured matchup. I think they might go his way.
2nd and 8. Ham to Marco Sinkar, and that is an Eskimo first down.
Reception good at the Saskatchewan 43. First down, Eskimos.
Sonny Gordon over to make the stop that time.
12 years in the league for Marco Sinkar. Good job on the medium pass routes. That's his range, 12 to 14-yard hooks and outs, and that's what he's best at. He showed you there, made a nice catch to keep this drive going.
Another Eskimo first down, this time from the Saskatchewan 43. The draw to Reggie Taylor.
Reggie Taylor on the ball carrier.
As the Eskimos try and establish the run, they haven't done much with their running back, Reggie Taylor, so far.
They had a lot of success in the opening game of the season against Saskatchewan, trapping that front four of the Saskatchewan Roughriders. And usually against a good pass rushing team like Saskatchewan, you have a chance to trap them. And what we mean by that is allow that front four to get penetration upfield and then kick one of them out with a pulling guard or pulling tackle. And they had great success. And I know that has to be part of their game plan tonight. And talking with Ron Lancaster, he said, yes, we are thinking about doing some trapping tonight. Randy Ambrosi had a huge game, the first one of the season against them.
Wayne Drinkwalder being attended to. Sore left ankle, it would appear.
Currently 2nd in CFL rushing, 12 yards behind.
First year as a starter for Wayne Drinkwalder. There you see from the Thunder Bay Juniors. Took over from Chuck Klingbill, who played the defensive tackle spot for a couple of seasons and played out his option, went down to Miami of the NFL. So Wayne Drinkwalder, a 3-year veteran of the club, gets his opportunity to start. And I would think, by the way he's moving there, he will be back.
It'll be Glenn Scribner, number 60. Coming in for Drinkwalder, he is listed number 2 on the Saskatchewan depth chart.
Taylor with
Along the defensive line.
Second and 9.
A gain of 1 for Reggie Taylor. This is 2nd and 9 Eskimos. Ham is finally ready. Gets a little early movement, no flags, however. Ham tried to throw it quickly over the middle for Ellis. He paid the price. Ellis didn't turn around in time either.
Good job up front. They do a stunt and create a hole for Eddie Lowe, the blitzing linebacker, to come right through. And Tracy Ham more or less just got that football away so he wouldn't take the sack and lose some yardage. You know, I like that. He's a mature quarterback now. He sees himself in trouble. Rather than try and force one in there, throw it away and play for field position.
And Ray McAreedy enters. He'll start his evening of punting right at midfield on the 55. Long count, McAreedy. Willis Jaycox. And Blake Marshall made the tackle. 32-yard punt, 14-yard return for Willis Jaycox. And here comes Rick Warman. Had a pretty good week last week, no doubt about that.
Those are his numbers for the entire season, but really in the last 2 games is where he has had success. 687 yards and 6 touchdown passes in his last 2 starts. That's pretty impressive.
First down, Roughriders from the 25. Warman will throw far side. Don Narcisse makes the catch and slides forward for better than 5 yards.
Hey, you're giving this guy a heart attack.
One newcomer along that Saskatchewan offensive line since we've seen them is Paul Vida starts at right guard. He's a rookie from Concordia.
Well, the nice thing from the consistency factor, other than Warman replacing Austin, everybody else is the same from day one. Receiving core, and of course, Milson Jones and Lucius Floyd. Milson Jones with the big week last week, 132 yards rushing. And boy, if Rick Warman can have first down production like he did on his first play, I mean, he could be in for a good night. These are nice situations.
2nd and 1, absolutely. Roughriders try and get across the 35, and Milson Jones was stopped initially. Did he get through on second effort? Met by Mike Walker, number 61.
Close to a first down for the Riders.
They'll measure. It's that close.
I think he's got it. It's a good second effort by Milson Jones. You know, he's a big guy, 6. They list him at 2 1/4 now. I don't believe that.
You've said that before. You want to get him on the Toledos again, don't you?
I would like to. I don't think he'll get on there, though. But he's 6 foot, and I would say he's 240.
Well, he's effective. There's no question about that. He has the first down, and what a week he had last week running against the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Almost 150 yards.
You know what's interesting about him is, not, you know, for a big man, he has such agile footwork as he's going through the line. You'll see that tonight.
This is Lucius Floyd. He made the catch, and he was met almost immediately by Willie Pless, number 39. Pless read it well. And he's really helped that Eskimo defense, Willie Pless, with a front 3 this year, Walker Bourgeau and the toaster Brett Williams up front, and then the strength is really with Blue, Pless, Bass, and Ruck at the linebacking core.
And then the adventure begins. Who will play this week? Eddie Thomas, he shifts over to the right corner. Roy Bennett is back. David Shelton, first game he has ever played at middle safety. But you know what? They've been getting the job done.
2nd and 9. Narcisse, the intended receiver. Roy Bennett is back and covering on Don Narcisse.
That was Rick Warman's fault. He had him open early, but he waited just a touch too long, and he let the ball sail just a little bit. You're going to see it right here. Warman with lots of time to throw. Good protection from his offensive line. They pick up the stunt, but as you'll see, the ball sails just a touch, and no chance for Don Narcisse to bring that one down.
Mike Lozecki, averaging 41.2 per punt, steps across his 25 to get this one away. And the Gizmo waits, but has no play. Lozecki bounced it out at the 40-yard line. So far, no score at Commonwealth in Edmonton between the Roughriders and the Eskimos on TSN tonight.
Back for 1991 and coached by Donna Knight.
Well, our featured matchup tonight is David Williams against Larry Hogue. In the first meeting this year, David Williams had some big catches about Hogue. He talked about that.
I think I won the matchup. I caught a couple long passes on him. And I think he tries to play a little physical. He's used to playing halfback, so I think when they moved him out to the corner, he tried to take his physical play out there. So I think I just have to stay off the jam and keep his hands off me, because the halfbacks used to like grab a little bit. And he's a tough player, and I think I just have to play my best against him.
I thought that was an interesting point David Williams brought up about Larry Hogue has played inside safety most of his career, and you think more physical when you play in there. There's a little more action happening, and he brings that to the outside. He'll bump David Williams.
Williams on the receiving end of a Tracy Ham pass. He's got 5 yards.
Well, there's the matchup we talked about, and Larry Hogue would be very happy if David Williams just caught 5-yard passes all night long. Good first down call, though. Good possession type pass, and although he's not able to get up and run any farther, it's still good possession through the passing game.
Far side, and Jim Sandusky has an Edmonton Eskimo first down. Stacey Hairston covering on Sandusky on the other side.
A 13-yard gain for the
Great addition to this lineup, and they move to the hurry-up offense, which really kills us for replays this year. But
can't show you some of the great catches.
No, he made a good one right there. And
flag is down as Ham fires over the middle. And Taylor brought down by Wayne Drinkwalder, who's obviously all right once more. We'll go back and check out the infraction. There you go, Jake, against the Roughriders.
Offside. Saskatchewan number 42. Decline. First down.
That's Eddie Lowe getting caught that time, and it's an Eskimo first down as Edmonton moves out to the 42. Once again in the no-huddle offense. Ham getting some pressure now. Can he be caught from behind? Not before he gets it away. Sandusky for the first down. And Eddie Lowe is a long way back covering on a wide receiver.
It really is. You can't blame the defense for this kind of completion. I mean, here they chase Ham all around the field. Watch how he'll reverse his field and buy himself some extra time. I mean, you can't chase him. Gary Lewis can't catch him from behind. But, as a defense, if you don't get to Ham, you give Sandusky this kind of time, he'll kill you.
Another Eskimo first down, this time from the 28, and Craig Ellis makes the catch. Sonny Gordon stopped Ellis before he got to first down territory.
See, Tracy Ham's getting smart. He's seen this blitz now about 4 times on this drive, so he said, okay, you want to bring all the guys. I'm just going to run my all-star slot back, Craig Ellis, to the inside. You can't cover, and we'll pick up 6 yards. First down. We'll be very happy with that.
Gain of 6. This will be 2nd and 4 Edmonton. And Drinkwalder shaken up once more. No scores so far in Edmonton as the Eskimos and the Roughriders meet for the second time. Edmonton winning the first game. We had that one on TSN quickly. The Eskimos were down 21-0, and they came back to tie it at halftime and win.
Yeah, nice way for this young fella to restart his coaching career with a big win coming back to Saskatchewan. I mean, I remember the night, it was kind of like a love-in there. The 66 Grey Cup Rider team was there, and all the players, there's a lot of them played for either team, and Craig Ellis had some great years there. They're all out talking before the game, and Ronnie saying hi to everybody, and I didn't know if they were ever going to get around and kick the thing off, and when they did.
Turned out to be a pretty good ball game.
Yeah, it was.
Tracy Ham on 2nd and 4. Craig Ellis can't make the catch. Big hit on Craig Ellis. Sonny Gordon.
Boy, Sonny Gordon just sat back in his zone coverage and read the quarterback's eyes. When Tracy Ham delivered it into the open area, he was right there to put the hit on Craig Ellis. Now, Craig Ellis usually hangs on to these footballs, but the timing, is perfect. Sonny Gordon with the big hit. Came over in a trade from the Hamilton Tiger Cats this past year. This is superb timing. Boom.
The hit forces the Eskimos into a field goal situation. Here's Ray McAreedy. Had some tough times last week with a chance to win the game. They fake it this time. Here's Ham. And has a man wide open. Leroy Blue makes the catch, number 89. Off the fake field goal.
Love the call. First one we've seen this year, I think. Fake field goal. And, you know, it's interesting, the psychology of it all. You know, Ray McAreedy has struggled. You might be saying, well, you know, we want to give the kid an easy field goal, let him get his confidence back. But what do? Reach into the bag of tricks and...
Not exactly soft hands on Leroy Blue there. He made sure he made the catch, though.
Leroy's thinking, I'm not dropping this biscuit. You know, I'm going to catch this one. Worry about running later.
All you got to do now is work on your running ability.
See? That's what the Giz said. I like that. He says, Leroy, you got to work on your running now. Leroy did a good job catching that one.
The Eskimos are first and goal to go at the Saskatchewan 8-yard line. Tracy Ham to the end zone. Sandusky turned and couldn't make the catch. Well, Larry Hogue was on Sandusky that time. So it'll be second and goal from the 8. .6:43 to go in the opening quarter at Commonwealth. Tracy Ham looks to the end zone. Gets away from one and fires the touchdown toss. Reggie Taylor. First touchdown receiving for Reggie Taylor.
Well, you know what? They had a chance. Number 72, John Bankhead. Watch it right here. He's got a chance to nail him, but, you know, you let him slip away, and it's game over. Nice catch by Reggie Taylor. And he gets his first touchdown receiving of the year, and Tracy's kind of pleased with all of that. That's a nice drive. Fake field goal set that one up.
Absolutely. Here's McAreedy for his first point of the night now. And the Eskimos move in front of the Saskatchewan Roughriders by a touchdown. With 6:32 to play in the opening quarter, Edmonton leading Saskatchewan 7-0. Reggie Taylor has his first touchdown receiving so far in 1991. The Eskimos have the lead 7-0. An impressive drive.
Yeah, it really was. Nice job by everybody. I like the trick, the fake field goal. That was good.
Field goal, one of the plays that covered 70 yards in about 3.5 minutes, and Reggie Taylor gets his first touchdown receiving. The Eskimos get off to that quick start they were talking about before the game this morning.
Too deep for the Saskatchewan Roughriders as the Eskimos get set to kick off after the touchdown. Willis Jaycox and Alan Boyko. This is Jaycox at the 20. And already he's to the 40. To the 45-yard line. Larry Ruck leading the Eskimo tacklers that time. But the Saskatchewan Roughriders have great field position after a 25-yard return.
Willis Jaycox, you know, he played 3 games back in 1987 for the Riders and then sat out for a few years, couldn't make it. And he is the all-purpose yardage leader so far after 3 games, 767 yards. Total offense, that's kick returns, receiving, you name it. But quite a success story. Was playing flag football in Minneapolis.
Rick Warman swings it out to Milson Jones. Jones can't quite get up ahead of steam, but he has 5 yards, met by Mike Walker.
Nelson Jones takes the swing pass and goes 5 yards. Mike Walker with the...
That is about 240 pounds caught by 255-pound Mike Walker. Mike did a good job. You know, he's pretty good at reading those screens and little swings and nice agility to get to the outside and hold that gain to just about 5 yards.
Roughriders from their own 50 on 2nd and 5. Warman, far side, Jay Cox makes the catch. In front of Eddie Thomas, number 17. Saskatchewan first down.
And they will go to the hurry-up offense to try and keep their momentum going. Eddie Thomas played the left corner last week. This week he plays the right corner. I mean, I would have to think that that is quite an adjustment for a young rookie. 2 different sides, 2 different weeks.
Here's Warman. Milson Jones couldn't bring it down.
Pass intended for Milson Jones.
I think the offensive line of the Saskatchewan Roughriders know that for them to have any chance tonight, they have to do a great job protecting Rick Warman. I mean, they've allowed 13 sacks so far in 3 games. That is not very good, but tonight against this Edmonton defense that likes to blitz a great deal, this front 5, the offensive linemen, I think they really have their work cut out for them. So far, they're doing a good job.
7-0 Eskimos in the opening quarter. Saskatchewan, 2nd and 10. Good fake by Warman as he looks to the near side and finds Ray Elgard for a first down. Elgard is inside the 35.
Well, how about Rick Warman? You know, like they said he couldn't run, didn't they? I mean, isn't that what we heard? I mean, this is pretty good. He outruns Leroy Blue right here. Leroy Blue's not expecting him to go to the outside, but Warman gets away from the pressure and throws a nice strike to Ray Elgard. And Saskatchewan now is answering the Edmonton drive with a nice one of their own.
1st and 10 Roughriders. Warman in trouble. Got it away. Milson Jones makes the catch and turns it into a decent run after catching the ball behind the line of scrimmage.
Well, you see what I mean when I talk about Milson being a big man but has good feet, and Roy Bennett finally will make the play, but you know, what looked like a horrible play in the beginning turns out to be a positive one because Milson Jones not only has the great strength but some pretty good agility after he catches the football.
Saskatchewan at the 30-yard line. 2nd and 5. Warman looks deep behind the coverage and too far for Jeff Fairholm, number 18. Not much too far.
Well, you know, the pressure was coming, and Warman had to let it go at that time, or maybe he was going to take the sack, and really Fairholm came open late. Nevertheless, a good drive by Warman. I mean, you like to answer the Edmonton drive with something, and at least he has put his team in a position to answer with some points.
Here's David Ridgway, who has not been quite as consistent this season, but a little more so than his opponent tonight, Ray McAready. Ridgway good on 6 of 9, and those numbers just a little bit below the usual Ridgway standard. Ridgway has his first of the night, and the Roughriders are on the scoreboard, trailing the Edmonton Eskimos by 4 with 3:37 to play in the opening quarter. It's Edmonton 7, Saskatchewan 3. Welcome back to Commonwealth in Edmonton for the Roughriders and the Eskimos. 2nd meeting of the season. They'll play 4 times in total, 4 times in the first 11 games of the year for these 2 teams.
Yeah, so whoever wants to get the upper hand, they'll have to do it early this year. I'm going to say this quietly now. You know, there's about 3 minutes left in the first quarter. There's only been 1 flag.
I don't know. You might have jinxed us a little bit.
I don't know.
Well, gentlemen, it's a TSN fact. The Saskatchewan Roughriders have 3 former CFL head coaches on their staff. Can you name them? Well, 2 of them are kind of easy. Larry Donovan, the former coach of the BC Lions. Ray Yauch, the former head coach of the Edmonton Eskimos and the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. And the trick part, Fred Glick, the director of U.S. Scouting, the former head coach of the Ottawa Roughriders. Now, did you guys know that?
Absolutely. Leaf
Sure.
got that one at breakfast this morning.
That's right. Fred Glick, coach for a month in Ottawa. Brother-in-law took over.
That's right.
Sure.
Ridgway on the Saskatchewan kickoff. And the Gizmo calls for it at the 20. Out to the 40-yard line. Last time we were here, the Gizmo ran 1 back for a touchdown and 1 almost back for a touchdown. One of the funniest plays we've seen in Canadian football in years. When he crossed the 5-yard line, he thought it was the goal line, dropped the ball, and the Eskimos had to scramble for victory as a result.
Well, he is exciting. Boy, I get a kick out of watching Henry Gizmo Williams every time he touches the football. You know, he doesn't need a lot of great blocking in front of him. He creates a lot of it on his own, and he is tremendous asset to our league.
1st 1st and 10. The Eskimos begin this drive at the 40. And begin with Reggie Taylor on the ground. Taylor more than halfway to a first down. Stopped by the safety, Glenn Suter.
You know, that's the strategy running against the Saskatchewan Roughriders. You either trap them or you draw them. And it's a sprint draw to Reggie Taylor. And what we mean by that is because they get upfield so quickly, all the offensive linemen have to do is turn their man just a little bit one way or the other. I mean, it's not a really tough block to make. And you saw right there the sprint draw, and that's 8 yards for Reggie Taylor.
Broke free and has the first down. Stopped by Stacey Hairston.
For the Eskimos.
Boy, you have to appreciate the way he runs the football. I mean, we're talking 230 pounds of meanness. I mean, he is not a happy guy when he's running this thing. He would love to run over people. Look at that. He could have bounced it to the outside. There was a hole, but he said, no, I want to run over 2 or 3 guys before I break it.
I talked to him before the game. He was smiling and friendly.
He's not smiling now. He is tough competitor.
Another Eskimo first down. And Taylor once more as he gets out and across the 50-yard line.
And so we talked about the trap plays working and the draw plays working. Randy Ambrosi, the right guard, comes all the way across and gets a good block on Eddie Lowe, and that allows Reggie Taylor to cut up inside. And boy, this is twice in a row on first down. They picked up 8 yards, and for a team that is always successful on offense, it just makes it that much easier. Now, you know, 2nd and 2, Tracy Ham has his choice of a whole bunch of things he can do.
Eskimos just across the Saskatchewan 50. And Blake Marshall has the first down with a little extra effort. It appeared to be stopped, but Marshall made it through. Dave Albright's had him by one leg, but that's not enough to bring him down.
I wouldn't think so. Well, they choose the left side of that offensive line to run behind in short yardage. Blake Dermott, the tackle, 270 pounds. Mike Dirks, the left guard, 290. So they are some big fellas up front to pave the way for Blake Marshall, who is 6'1", 230 himself. And Larry Hogue will not stop him short of the first down too many times. Larry Hogue, 5'7", 175, and not exactly a trained killer back there.
Eskimos at the 46 as the drive continues for Tracy Ham. And to his right, got away from Glenn Suter. Intended that for Marco Sinkar, I believe, but the pass was well off target. Sam got a little pressure that time.
A little pressure, but Saskatchewan, the only way they're getting it is through the blitz, and they haven't had to do that so much in their first 3 games this year. They've relied on that front 4, but now Glenn Suter that time, but nobody's been able to get to Tracy Ham.
You talk about Glenn Suter coming in on the blitz. He's already come in 4 times. The Eskimos on the sidelines are saying, watch out for Suter and watch out for Hall in almost every passing situation. One of them's coming.
Well, here comes Hall.
And Ham goes to the release man, and it's Blake Marshall with the first down. Mismatch there as Hogue tried to bring down Marshall, and he had decent success. Marshall had a pretty good head of steam, but Hogue felt it, I know.
Well, Gord Miller's giving us some good stuff from the sidelines because Richie Hall came and they picked him up, and look at this. I mean, Tracy Ham could run. He decides that he'll let Greg Marshall do it. It helps your completion percentage. And, you know, if Saskatchewan's going to keep coming with the blitz and not getting close to Ham, they're going to get burned all night.
The Eskimos with a first down at the 20. Ham has time to throw. Touchdown! David Williams. The gamble didn't pay off in the Saskatchewan secondary that time.
Well, the blitz again is picked up rather easily by the Edmonton offensive line and backs, and that allows Tracy Ham to find David Williams, Larry Hogue. He gambled and lost on the matchup tonight, so definitely David Williams ahead on the matchup that we feature for you tonight.
Yes, Larry Hogue went for the football. David Williams made the catch.
Shows you the experience of Ham. You know, a lot of times in that post, you know, you'll drill the ball in there, but he put a little air time on it, and Larry Hogue couldn't get close to it.
2 touchdowns on impressive marches for the Edmonton Eskimos. Tracy Ham, a hot hand already at Commonwealth in Edmonton, and David Williams second touchdown catch of the season. One more peek.
Well, all kinds of time for Tracy Ham, and as I said earlier, if they're going to continue to blitz and not get close, it's going to be a long night for that secondary. I mean, they need help up front if they're going to be in man-to-man so many times, and they're just not getting any help.
I wonder how many miles that old fire truck has on it.
Too many. I used to hate that truck. Well, David Williams smiling coming into tonight. Only 9 catches in 3 games. Not really what he would like personally, but a couple of catches tonight. One for a touchdown. Brings the smiles to his face.
On the return for Saskatchewan, Willis Jaycox, number 85. Well covered by the Eskimo special unit out there. Stopped at the 35. 19 seconds to play in the opening quarter.
Another scoring drive for the Eskimos, this time 7 plays and 70 yards. And Tracy Ham said before the game he wanted to use David Williams' height to his advantage because he says even if Williams doesn't have an extra step, his height gives him that step, and they used it there for a 20-yard touchdown.
Good point, Gordy. David Williams, 6'4", Larry Hogue, 5'7". You know, you're talking 9 inches plus the arm length factor, so that's a very good point.
Good fake by Rick Warman. He has time to throw. Protection finally broke down, but he got it away for Lucius Floyd. And Floyd has a first down. He's out across the 45. And Larry Ruck made the tackle on the final play of the opening quarter. So we'll see if the Roughriders can continue this drive when we return to Commonwealth in Edmonton. So far, the Eskimos lead the way. It's 14-3 on a great night for football in Alberta. The Eskimos leading the Saskatchewan Roughriders 14-3. And we're ready for a Roughrider first down to begin the second quarter of action. Warman for Jaycox. Got away from one. And Jaycox has a first down. He's out near the 50.
Rick Warman to Willis Jaycox on the play.
That's a great move by Willis Jaycox. Little fake to the inside, spin back to the outside. He gets around Eddie Thomas. You know, we talked about Eddie Thomas last week, left corner, this week, right corner. I mean, that is tough for your footwork. You know, one week you're facing the other way, now you're backwards. And Willis Jaycox, who's turned out to be a pretty good threat so far this season, makes a nice catch and run.
Lucius Floyd stopped by Bourgeau before he got very far. Matter of fact, I think he's at the original line of scrimmage, maybe a half-yard gain.
2nd and 10, Saskatchewan from the Eskimo 50.
Quarter stats brought to you by General Motors. The edge to the Eskimos in total yards, 163-60, and a lot of those piled up on the ground.
2nd and 10 for Warman and the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Time to throw near side, and Jaycox may have turned it up a yard too soon.
Well, he took his pattern not deep enough, and when he worked back to the quarterback, he took himself out of first down range, and I'm not even sure this is even gambling range. And he was working against the backside of what they call a 4-deep zone, and 4 defensive backs deep, and then the linebacker Larry Ruck tries to get out underneath that out and cover it. He couldn't get there, but Jaycox came up a couple of yards short. Well, about a yard and a half. I don't know. They're not going to take any chances here.
Unless they fake it. We've seen one already on a fake field goal try.
I don't know about John Gregory. I think he likes field position more than fakes.
Mike Lozecki. And he takes it out of Gizmo's range, bouncing it out near the 9-yard line. So the Eskimos will start from deep in their zone. Fans here don't like it that much, and neither does the Giz. Didn't get the ball.
Oh, Henry said, come on, man, kick it to me. Don't be afraid. He's laughing. Henry, that's respect. You may not like it, but that's respect.
Tracy Ham has marched the Eskimos effectively into a 14-3 lead. We're early in the second quarter at Commonwealth in Edmonton. Flag down. And Reggie Taylor is too. Gary Lewis and Wayne Drinkwalter. Drinkwalter was moving a little bit early, I believe.
Yeah, he's offside. He jumped the gun. So it'll be 1st and 5, as I'm sure they'll accept.
Offside. Saskatchewan number 77. Repeat first down.
So that'll make it 1st and 5, Eskimos, when they're on 18.
So it'll be 1st and 5 for the Eskimos out at the 18 now. Edmonton leading by 11. Blake Marshall. And he should have the first down. Lewis and Drinkwalder in on the tackle.
Well, there's not anything fancy about that running play. Man-on-man blocking. Pick out a guy, try and hammer him, and let the big fella come at you. They just kind of push Regina back and pick up 6 yards. First down. Tracy Ham gets himself out of trouble. Starting on his own 12, he gets it up to the 24.
First down, Ham to the far side. David Williams in front of Larry Hogue.
Tracy Ham and David Williams at 12.
You know, I've talked about David Williams a number of times, indicating that if you get him involved early, you have his attention for the whole game. If you ignore him in the first half, he can kind of fall asleep on you. But tonight they've used him. His 3rd catch so far early in the 2nd quarter. Now 1 for a touchdown. And, boy, you have his attention, and you've got a good one. That's the matchup tonight. He's winning it so far.
Here's Ham on the move. Intercepted. Intended it for Sandusky, and Stacey Hairston gambled and won. Big turnover going against the Eskimos as the Roughriders have a first down near the 45.
What a great play by Stacey Hairston. Probably the fastest guy on the Saskatchewan Roughrider team. And Jim Sandusky's run about 5 outs on Hairston in the first half here, and they haven't always thrown to him, but Hairston's been watching that. He reads Tracy Ham and makes a perfect break on the football and picks up his 2nd interception of the season. That's a big play.
So the Roughriders with the first turnover of the night. First down at the Eskimo 41. Warman to work in a hurry. Elgard has a first down. He's to the 30. Larry Ruck leading the Eskimo tacklers that time. Good call.
Yeah, it was a great call. You know, Warman says that I don't like to roll out and sprint out because I lose part of the field. I like to drop straight back. I can see the whole field, and here he reads the blitz. Danny Bass coming right up the middle, dumps it off nicely to Elgard, and that's just a veteran quarterback understanding the blitz and where to attack it.
Saskatchewan first down at the Eskimo 30. This is Fairholm. Reverse. And Fairholm took a pretty good tackle, but made the play work. Willie Pless was there.
Nice call. Roger Aldag, watch him come around the corner. He can't really decide who to pick out, and Enos Jackson can't get a piece of him, but Fairholm tries to split both Willie Pless and Henry Miller. Yeah, I like the style of offense, though. Nice and wide open.
The gain is 8, 2nd and 2, Roughriders. At the Eskimo 22, Saskatchewan trailing 14-3. And Jones pulls his way close to a first down. We'll see where they spot the ball. I think the drive will continue. Yes, it is a first down.
That's funny. John Gregory, I think, would tell you that you don't like to coach a running back in short yardage situations to get too fancy with his footwork as he approaches the line. I mean, get into that hole and then worry about using your feet. But Nilson Jones has that great knack of just stutter stepping a touch and finding the open spot. And that time he picked up 3 and keeps this drive going.
The drive began with an interception, and the Roughriders have a first down at the Eskimo 19. Warman just got it away in time and went too far for Ray Elgard. Enos Jackson, number 29, was with Elgard, and the pass just a little too far.
Yeah, the pressure was coming in. Boy, if Enos Jackson and Ray Elgard had some battles over the last few years. Jackson in the league for 3 seasons. Of course, Elgard's been around for 9 years from Utah, but the two of these guys, you know, they'll say, well, no, we don't really have a thing going for each other, but I know they do. I mean, they don't like each other a great deal, and last year got into a number of battles, and boy, that'll be a good one tonight, too. 2 physical guys going against each other.
2nd and long. Roughriders at the Eskimo 19, and Warman is down. Willie Pless got through to make the play, and he got a little help from the toast. Number 91, Brett Williams. Penalty marker is down.
So holding will be called against Saskatchewan. It means nothing because the toaster and Willie Pless will share that sack. And just as Saskatchewan looked like they were mounting a pretty good attack,
Holding.
the Edmonton defense snuffs it
Saskatchewan
out.
number 58. Decline. Third down.
That's Chris Gioskas, number 58, and there he is.
10 yards loss for the Riders, so it'll be third.
So we're in Ridgeway range right now.
Yeah, let's see if they can convert that turnover on the interception by Stacey Hairston and turn it over into some points.
Ridgeway is good. It is 14-6 at Commonwealth in Edmonton. As the Roughriders drive for 2 field goals, the Eskimos have driven for 2 touchdowns. And we'll be right back.
Well, our matchup tonight is David Williams versus Larry Hogue. And Larry Hogue, known as a physical defensive back, and we talked to him before the game and said, will you be physical out on the corner?
Well, basically, you know, coming in from the inside to the outside, you're more of an island, and it changes your game style a little bit. You got to be a little physical to get some respect in the league. You know, playing him the first time we played him, I did try to challenge him a little bit, being physical a little bit. You know, this time probably wouldn't change a thing.
Well, David Williams winning the matchup so far tonight. He has a touchdown.
Yeah, he has a touchdown, 3 catches. Larry Hogue's been around for 9 years, though. You know, a lot of successful seasons with the Calgary Stampeders. Do not count him out.
No, it's a little early to do that. 9:09 to play till halftime.
You don't play 9 years in this league at DB and not have learned a few little tricks. So Larry Hogue has lots of time to get back in our matchup. Clearly, David Williams is ahead at this point.
Saskatchewan kickoff. It's short. And this is Craig Ellis on the return. Ellis still going as he crosses the 47-yard line.
Craig Ellis with an 18-yard return.
All right. Is there a party in town tonight? They're left over from Klondike days, I think, Leaf.
Yeah, I think they've been in a time warp.
Yeah, the original Klondike days.
Yeah. Like the glasses, though. You look good in those, I think.
18-yard return, and the Eskimos have great field position to begin this drive. From the 48, this is Ham in some difficulty and fired it behind David Williams.
Pass intended for David Williams.
Stacey Hairston has moved over to cover Williams a little bit.
Second and 10 Eskimos from their own 48.
You know, gentlemen, last week at BC Plays, Ron Lancaster lifted Tracy Ham in the second quarter just to get Warren Jones some playing time. He was about to do the same thing here to get Jones to warm up, but when Ham threw the interception, he doesn't want to punish Tracy Ham, wants to let him get on a roll, so we'll see Jones a little later in the quarter.
Ron Lancaster trying to develop a 2-quarterback system for the Eskimos. Here's Ham on 2nd and 10, and Ham. Sinkar. Rather, Craig Ellis.
What a great catch by Craig Ellis. You know, he dropped one earlier when he took the hit, but this time he was determined that he would hang on to this football. This is a spectacular catch. You'll see Suter come across, Larry Hogue come across, and great concentration. That's why he has led the league in receiving 3 different times.
A 33-yard gain, and the Eskimos are at the Saskatchewan 35. Ham has to get out of there. Second run of the night for Tracy Ham, and he has another first down. Slightly shaken up.
Well, once again, he gets outside of the containment, and when he does that, it's nothing but trouble for the defense. This time he doesn't have to throw the football. He cuts back against the grain and comes up with a pretty good run, picks up another first down. So the selective running of Tracy Ham has really been evident tonight, as it was last week, of course, when he had those 6 carries for 100 yards. Leading the league in rushing. I mean, what more can you say about his ability?
First down, Edmonton. 34-yard line. And Ellis was the intended receiver. Henry Miller. Sonny Gordon covering, I should say.
Let's go back and talk about the Edmonton quarterbacking situation a little bit. You know, we said that the Edmonton Ron Lancaster would like a 2-quarterbacking system, but make no mistake, I mean, Tracy Ham is his #1 guy. He just wants Warren Jones to get some playing time because, I mean, Lancaster realizes that in this league, you cannot win with one quarterback alone. The quarterback very rarely can play 18 games, and he doesn't want Jones to come into the lineup with all kinds of rust over him.
Tracy Ham was one of the few to play 18 games last year, and he looks to the end zone for Sandusky. Touchdown! What a great catch. Sandusky right at the line, and Stacey Hairston was with him but couldn't make the play.
Great protection by the offensive line. Watch Tracy Ham all day to throw the football, and the key thing here is watch how Sandusky will shield off Stacey Harrison, and then right at the end he extends, makes the catch, keeps his feet in bounds, and what a great play. Now Stacey Harrison got one on him on the interception, but Sandusky pays him back right there with a super catch.
Three touchdown for Tracy Ham and the Eskimos. Sandusky has one. Williams has one. The Eskimos lead it 21-6. For this moment, Jim Sandusky of the Edmonton Eskimos. Great catch in the end zone to give Edmonton a 21-6 lead.
Well, the technique here is superb. He shields off Stacey Harrison, and at the last second stretches out, makes the catch. 4th touchdown so far of the season for Jim Sandusky, and there's a happy couple of guys. It's pretty to watch, isn't it? The long bomb, I mean, there's nothing like it. It's like the long bomb in football, the home run in baseball, the penalty shot in hockey. I mean, they're all the same. They are exciting.
Yeah, that's right. Tracy Ham, not a bad night so far. 12 for 19, 189 yards. 3 touchdown tosses. This is Willis F. Jaycox on the return for Saskatchewan. And he's out across the 38-yard line.
Craig Ellis makes the big catch. Tracy Ham makes the big run and then makes the big play to Jim Sandusky. It all adds up to a 5-play, 62-yard drive and a 21-6 Edmonton lead early in the second quarter.
Well, just a little too much offense for the Eskimos. And the Roughriders will try and get things back on track now. So far, Warman has engineered 2 field goals to counter 3 Saskatchewan touchdowns. It is first down as Warman looks to the far side. Don Narcisse was covered by Roy Bennett.
Roy Bennett covering for the Eskies. 2nd and 10 from Saskatchewan 39.
So from the 39, it'll be 2nd and 10 Roughriders.
I know Edmonton happy to have Roy Bennett back in the lineup. You know, so many changes. We talked about the devastation in their secondary this year, but Bennett there, good one-on-one coverage. No chance for Rick Warman to feather the ball in there. I mean, 2-time All-Canadian, formerly with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. He's a good one.
Warman on 2nd and 10 in some trouble. Now he finds running room to the far side. Warman runs for a first down. He's still going. Rick Warman caught from behind at the 20-yard line. They said this guy can't run. What was that?
Hey, who said that? I want to know who said that. Hey, we're talking fleet of foot. Look at the fans. They can't believe it. They read in the papers today that this guy can't run.
Can't run. He's a drop-back quarterback.
No, all he does is change directions, go all the way across the field, pick out a guy, get one block, and that is some kind of run for a guy that doesn't like to do it.
Rick Warman, the runner, 54 yards.
That looked good.
And the Roughriders have a first down at the Eskimos 16. Warman to the end zone, touchdown, Jeff Fairholm. All right, Riders are back. 3rd of the year for Jeff Fairholm.
Well, I'm telling you, that didn't take long. I mean, we're talking one big run by Rick Warman, and now they pick up the blitz here. Look at this. Warman all day to throw, and he leads Fairholm perfectly into the open area. There you get a great shot of it. I mean, Warman just put the ball into a spot where no Edmonton guy could get it in the secondary. Only Jeff Fairholm could adjust and run to it, make the catch, and pick up his 3rd touchdown. Rick Warman, 7th TD he's thrown this year. Not bad for a guy that was not supposed to play at all this year.
That's right. He was supposed to be a backup all season long. Jeff Fairholm's first catch of the night is for a touchdown. Flags down to the point after try. So it is.
Go here, Kelsey, man. Hey, pull it.
13.
Roger says don't forget to pick up that check tomorrow.
There's a message.
John Husing, who had Jim Wagg and Ron Cunup on their team. Here to present.
Edmonton opened the scoring when Tracy Ham found Reggie Taylor for an 8-yard score to make it 7-0. Saskatchewan came right back, though, with Dave Ridgway from 38 yards out. The lead was cut to 7-3, but Edmonton made an 11-point advantage when Ham hooked up with David Williams from 20 yards out, 14-3. Then another Dave Ridgway field goal, this time from 35 yards out. The lead was down to 8. Edmonton, though, came right back in the second quarter. Tracy Ham to Jim Sandusky for 24 yards after the Ridgway field goal. And then Rick Warman, Skeets Rick Warman, after the 54-yard run, goes to Jeff Fairholm for the touchdown. And that's where we are now, 21-13.
Skeets?
I don't know.
Skeets.
They're looking for a nickname for Willis F. Jaycox.
Yeah, he said he doesn't want a nickname.
He doesn't want one, but
yeah. I don't know. I kind of like nicknames.
Yeah, call him Fast, I suppose.
Sure.
The F is for Fast. This is Craig Ellis on the return. He's quick too. And the Eskimos with great field position once more. Richie Hall stopping Craig Ellis at the 47.
See, Craig Ellis was a running back when he first came into the league, and you know he gets to turn back into a running back on those kicking situations, and he was a good one. You know, 2 of the times that he led the CFL in receiving, he led it as a running back, and of course last year with his 106 catches did it as a slot back, but he is Mr. Versatility.
The Eskimos with a first down. This is Reggie Taylor. Stopped initially, but Taylor grabs 5, maybe 7 yards before he's brought down. Dave Albright finally stopping Reggie Taylor.
Seems like the Edmonton running backs, Reggie Taylor and Blake Marshall, really have been tough on the second effort tonight. 3 Saskatchewan Roughriders had chances to bring Taylor down early. There's Richie Hall. There's John Bankhead. Breaks another one there of Dave Albright, and well, that's a great run to pick up 8 yards. And well, every time you turn around tonight for Edmonton, it's been 2nd and 2, 2nd and 3, 2nd and 1. And that's pretty easy to run an offense like that.
They'll call this 2nd and 3. Here's Blake Marshall, and quickly it's another Eskimo first down. Richie Hall tripped him up, and Dave Albright pinned Blake Marshall that time.
Really good execution by the offensive line, though. Everybody along the right side blocks back, and then big Mike Dirks, the left guard, comes around the corner, leads up through the hole, and this all-Canadian offensive line is not only doing a good job against the rush or the pass rush of the Saskatchewan Roughriders, they're doing a good job opening some big holes for their running backs.
First down for Tracy Ham, swinging it out of the backfield for Reggie Taylor, away from one, and Taylor gets close to another Eskimo first down. Dan Rasevich and David Albright.
Well, we're
Saskatchewan
giving
linebackers on the tackle.
Sorry, John. We're giving kudos to the offensive line of the Eskimos. Look at Mike Dirks on Gary Lewis. Great job. Lewis doesn't even get close. Mike Dirks spent 6 years with the Hamilton Tiger Cats. You know, he was at the University of Cincinnati along with Reggie Taylor, and he opened some holes for Reggie Taylor down there at university as well as now with the Eskimos.
And 2nd and 1, a flag down as Marshall carries and gets behind the secondary. Sonny Gordon, the last man back, with a little help from Glenn Suter. Great block you spotted.
Well, I saw Greg Marshall run over Dave Albright, and you don't see that too many times. I mean, Dave Albright, tough middle linebacker.
Outside, Saskatchewan number 42, decline, first down.
And that's a great matchup. Albright 6'2", 235. Marshall 6'1", 230. Watch to the right of your screen. Albright meets him right in the hole there. And Marshall just bounces off him like nothing at all. Takes it to the outside, and both fullbacks with some great running ability. Milson Jones and Blake Marshall. I call him Greg. You know, he had an older brother, Greg, that played here in Edmonton as well.
This is Blake.
Yeah, forgive me every once in a while he was a great runner too, Greg Marshall.
Eskimos from the Saskatchewan 24. Pressure on Tracy Ham. He's down. Eddie Lowe.
So one of the few times tonight the Saskatchewan Roughriders have been able to get to Tracy Ham using the blitz. This time, not enough blockers on the backside to pick up Eddie Lowe, and Tracy Ham cannot get away from him, so a big sack.
Loss of 10, late big play by the Rough Rider defense.
Well, it really was. You know, they're looking at no question about field goal range, and now Ray McAreedy's been struggling a touch, and they make it, will make it a little longer for him if they can't convert on this second down situation.
Exactly 3 minutes to the half. And we'll take a break at Commonwealth in Edmonton, where the Eskimos lead the Saskatchewan Roughriders 21-13.
Coming up at the half, we'll go back to our TSN Control Center for a sports update. Between the Lines takes a look at Ron Lancaster. Behind the scenes with the Edmonton head coach, and John and Leaf will be by with their first half analysis.
Well, we're going to have some good highlights at halftime here. This has been a great first half offensively for both teams. 21-13, the Eskimos out in front, but no shortage of exciting plays tonight. I know John Gregory wishes a few more of them were in his favor, but it's been a pretty entertaining half of football.
Well, he settled for a couple of field goals when touchdowns would have looked nicer on the score sheet, but still the Rough Riders are very much in it, trailing 21-13 as the Eskimos face 2nd and 20 at the Saskatchewan 34. More pressure on Ham. He unloads it for Blake Marshall, and Marshall is cornered and caught from behind. Not back to the original line of scrimmage. John Bankhead running down Blake Marshall.
John Bankhead with a couple of sacks last week against the Hamilton Tiger Cats in his rookie year with the Western Rough Riders from Snow Junior College. Had a tryout with Winnipeg last year in 1990. Could not make their club, so he played some semi-pro football. And now this year, able to make the Rough Riders. John Gregory says his greatest attribute is the ability to run for 60 minutes. He said he is a gazelle at 6'6", 240 pounds. He can run all day, and that time he had to make the tackle on Blake Marshall. Now I'm going to say Greg all night.
No, it's Blake.
I know it's Blake.
The younger brother, both
yes.
from Western.
Okay, I got it.
Both about the same size.
Yeah, same family.
Yep. Larry Hogue is the injured Saskatchewan Rough Rider. Well, they were talking about Jeff Braswell in the local newspapers today, and Saskatchewan Rough Riders were asked if in fact they might have any interest in the former Ottawa Rough Rider linebacker, and Alan Ford, the general manager, said no.
Yeah, he didn't take long to say it either, did he? I mean, they don't need one. Dave Albright has been there for 6 years. He's done a good job. Was hurt a little bit last year, but don't think they want the aggravation.
Well, as Ray McAreedy gets set to line up this field goal, in a couple of weeks, Ray McAreedy is going to Teachers College in Toronto. Originally, that wasn't much of a concern on Edmonton's part, but since he missed those 2 field goals last week in BC, including the one to win the game, Ron Lancaster isn't really comfortable with the arrangement and says he'd like to take another look at it.
Well, I don't really blame him. I mean, that's tough to have an absentee kicker and just come and join you for the games. I mean, this would be a nice confidence builder for Ray. He has struggled, no question about that.
Good on 50% so far. Missed a couple last week, but he hits his first of the night here at Commonwealth.
And you watch the rest of his team now. They're all going to go up and give him a little hug and a pat and try and build his confidence back up. I mean, he's a good kicker, nice guy. He is hit a bit of a low period early this year, and all kickers will tell you they all go through it at one time or another.
Ray McAreedy has missed 6 so far this season, 2 from 42 yards away, 2 from 47, and 2 from 52. So he has missed consistently at those ranges, but those are fairly long field goals.
Well,
too.
you know, the trouble is it's magnified like 100 times when one of them last week could have tied the game, and of course the next one could have won the game. So he is under the microscope a little more when he misses one that could win. I don't know, going to school and then coming back to kick every weekend, that's a toughie. I'm not sure I'd like it as a head coach.
I think it's a little bit different.
Yeah, well, we'll see what they do with it.
Willis F. Jaycox on the return, and he's out to the 33.
Philip Jaycock slips after a 15-yard return.
Leading the tacklers for Edmonton, Henry Miller. As Larry Hogue gets attended to on the sidelines.
Yeah, that doesn't look good for Larry Hogue. Left knee, and the therapist, Ivan Gutfried, attends to him. I don't like the looks of that one.
First and 10, Riders.
2 minutes, 11 seconds till the half. Lucius Floyd taking the handoff from Rick Warman.
Lucius Floyd, the ball carrier.
Michel Bourgeot made the stop after a 2-yard gain, so it'll be 2nd and 8 for the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
See the real difference between these two offenses. 2nd and 8. Edmonton all night has been 2nd and 2, 2nd and 3. Rick Warman, not the best production on first down so far.
Warman fired high that time for Don Narcisse, who was looking for a call on Roy Bennett. He didn't get it.
Well, they're happy to have Roy Bennett back in the lineup. I can assure you that. You know, you need veteran cornerbacks to play in this league. You know, it's tough to play the rookies out there, and Roy Bennett really solidifies this group.
Mike Lozecki steps across his 25 to get a deep kick away for Henry, the Gizmo Williams. Williams takes it at the 27, and he is decked by Dave Albright at the 28. No chance for the Giz that time.
Boy, you can't do it any better than that. He just timed it perfectly as the Giz catches it on the bounce. Who's there to meet him?
Whammo.
Yeah.
Actually lost a couple of yards.
Trent Brown was trying to get the block on Albright, but rather than hit him in the back, he did the smart thing, passed him up, so they take the ball right there rather than 10 yards farther back. That's good discipline by the young defensive back, Trent Brown.
A minute 48 till halftime. The Eskimos leading the Saskatchewan Roughriders 24-13. Ham at the controls, near side, Sandusky, and that's an Eskimo first down. Sandusky in front of Stacey Hairston, a 15-yard gain.
Bobby Jurison, the sack leader for the Saskatchewan Roughriders, and Blake Dermott does a nice job on him, keeps his feet, keeps Bobby Jurison straight in front of him, and once again, Tracy Ham with all kinds of time to throw. That's the reason why.
Edmonton first down. Ham escapes for a moment and is caught by John Bankhead, number 72. Bankhead off to a not bad start, a couple of sacks. That is not a sack, but he did get the quarterback after a 2-yard gain.
This guy can run. I mean, he's a tall guy, too. Defensive end, that's what you like. 6'6", 240 pounds. A little on the light side, but with that great height and, you know, you stretch those arms out, he can get up over 10 feet. Sometimes I know he's going to make it difficult for some quarterbacks to throw over top of him.
Tough night on Wayne Drinkwalder, who is shaken up again.
It's the third time that Ivan Gutfried's had to come out and pay a visit to Wayne Drinkwalder.
Drinkwalder has an ankle that he sprained in the first quarter. They said initially it wasn't serious, but now they've had 2 or 3 looks at it. You got to think maybe he's going to have to come out of there. It got stepped on in the first series of the ball game.
Well, some problems mounting for the Saskatchewan Roughrider defense.
Larry Hogue is hurt.
Yeah, he's got the bad knee, and he's telling everybody how it happened. You know, I got it twisted here and twisted there, and it doesn't look good.
Not much sympathy in Edmonton because the Eskimos have had a terrific amount of injuries. The secondary is the key area, that they've had 12 different players playing in the secondary in 3 games.
Yeah, you will not get much pity here about anything.
No. Ham on 2nd and 7. And Bankhead ran him out again. Did he get the first down? I think he might have.
We've talked about John Bankhead tonight and his ability to run. Here's Trevor Bowles working on him now. Bankhead needs to keep that leverage to the outside, and you're going to see he tries to spin back underneath, and when he does that, Tracy Ham will get back to the outside of him. You got to keep that outside leverage against Tracy Ham.
2:19 to go till halftime, with the Eskimos leading the Roughriders 24-13. It is 1st and 10 Edmonton at Saskatchewan's 47. Ham bobbled the exchange from center. Rod Conop. Lewis was moving a little too quickly, though. Gary Lewis.
I think you caught him, partner.
Offside. Saskatchewan number 72. First down repeated.
So was Bankhead.
Yeah, oh, yeah. All right, they finger Bankhead, not Gary Lewis.
Yeah, Gary Lewis jumped too. I'll bail you out. He was in there.
All right. So it'll be 1st and 5 Edmonton. Ham quickly throwing for David Williams. He's down to the 10. Behind Stacey Hairston. Nice play. Good call. A 32-yard gain, and the Eskimos look for another 7 before the first half ends.
David Williams has made a living out of this pass pattern since he came into the league. Bump and run coverage. He's 6'4". Stacey Hairston's 5'8". It's a great matchup. Throw it over top and let Williams use his height. He makes a nice catch.
On 1st and goal to go at the 10. Ham, as flags fly. Ham looked for Sandusky, who drew double coverage.
Sean Dykes, who comes in as the designated import, replacing Larry Hogue, and he is in coverage, and it would have been a touchdown.
Saskatchewan number 28. First down.
I think it would have been a touchdown because Sandusky was free, and Sean Dykes just puts his hands up at the end and sticks them in his face. No question about that call.
Well, it's going to be a touchdown rather quickly, one would guess. 1st and goal to go. Eskimos at the Saskatchewan 1. Give it to Blake Marshall. In standing up that time. One more for Blake Marshall. That's 6 on the season. 6 along the ground and 1 through the air.
Well, he makes it look rather easy as he bounces it to the outside. Give a lot of credit up front. Good blocking. Nobody really gets a hand on Blake Marshall. His 6th on the ground, has 1 through the air. 7 touchdowns, leads all players in the CFL in touchdowns. They should just, they get on 1st and goal in the 1. I mean, they should just put it up on the board and don't make them go through the hassle of running the play.
One more to the Eskimo total. It is 31-13 at Commonwealth. All right, are you ready to make a catch here?
Well, they fire little footballs up into the stands. One week we were here, a couple weeks ago, they fired one, came right in the booth. And
yeah, you almost made a catch, too. I was so proud of you.
I didn't see it till the last second, or I'd have stabbed it. Watch how Marshall just bounces it to the outside. All the Saskatchewan defensive front gets sucked into the inside. He bounces it to the outside. This is why these two fullbacks tonight are so good. I mean, they are not only big men, and we're talking about Milson Jones too. They are not only big and powerful, they have some great agility. He's a good one. Western All-Star last year.
Blake Marshall. Into the final minute of the opening half with the Eskimos in control. 31-13 right now. See if the Roughriders can come up with a big return. Short kick. This is Lucius Floyd on the return. Flags are down as Floyd is too at the 41.
Lucius Floyd is on the return. Larry Wright making the tackle for the Eskimos, and flags down on the play.
53 seconds till halftime. 45-yard kickoff, an 11-yard return for Lucius Floyd.
Holding. Saskatchewan number 71. First down.
It's Bobby Jurison, of course, number 71. He's been neutralized a little bit by that Eskimo offensive line tonight.
They have done a good job on him. He's had a good night, too.
Saskatchewan, 1st and 10 at the Roughrider 25. Warman had a big run earlier for 54 yards, going nowhere this time. Celebrating the sack, Rob Davidson.
Well, this is what Ron Lancaster said. He's going to give a lot of guys a chance to play tonight. Rob Davidson is the backup defensive lineman in their scheme of things, and he is getting an opportunity in the second quarter to play, and he comes up with his first sack. Of course, it's easy to play a lot of other guys when you're up 31-13.
Yeah, it makes it easy. Just 24 years of age from the University of Toronto. Rob Davidson has his first sack of the season. Warman from the shotgun, a little razzle-dazzle to Lucius Floyd. And it did not fool the Eskimo defense. Davidson on the tackle one more time.
You know, I said Davidson was a rookie, and I'm going to correct that because he may find that out and he'll be mad at me. He's been around for a couple of years. Played actually 15 games with them last year. Some special teams work. Actually drafted in 1989. So I apologize, Rob.
So with 26 seconds on the clock till a half, Mike Lozecki steps in once more. Right on his goal line to kick this to the gizmo. Any kind of a return, the Eskimos get another chance for more points. Henry Williams at the 50. He's in field goal range already. Here comes the gizmo. Out at the 9-yard line. Lucius Floyd finally catching the gizmo. 34-yard kick, 40-yard return.
He comes up limping a little bit at the end here, but what a spectacular return. A couple of good blocks at the point of attack, and then it's all Henry Williams. He is exciting. Yeah, he's got some great speed, Henry Williams, and doesn't take much of a block to spring him loose. He does so much on his own.
Tracy Ham with 12 seconds till the half gets a crack at another touchdown. First and goal from the 10. Ham in some trouble. Can he get it away? Fired, but he was off target. Intending it for Reggie Taylor. Flag down. In the area where Tracy Ham got some pressure. Now, this could be a costly penalty to the Roughriders with 6 seconds
Major
till the half.
foul, roughing the passer, Ottawa number 39. First down.
Uh-oh, my gosh.
Jake, you're in Edmonton tonight, and it's Saskatchewan and Edmonton playing.
Oh, no.
He said Ottawa.
I know he did.
Well,
anybody can have a little slip there. You had Greg Marshall earlier.
That's right.
Yeah.
I'm not picking on you, Jake.
1-3-1 for Tracy Ham. Look for Sandusky. 2 seconds remain. Well, what are you going to do here? You're going to go for 6? You would. You see, you'd stick it right down their throat.
No, I wouldn't. It's a 5-yard line. I mean, that's a lot of yardage in goal line situations. I think that Ron Lancaster will do the conservative thing, as he is doing. Put Ray McAreedy in, let him kick a field goal. He liked to get McAreedy's confidence going, too. Let him get a bit of a streak. I think there's more to it than just trying to salt this game away early.
McAreedy hits another one, and the Eskimos head to the dressing room at halftime with a rather comfortable advantage on the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Tracy Ham has a hot hand, and the Eskimos lead Saskatchewan 34-13 at the half.
It's Edmonton 34-13 at halftime here at Commonwealth Stadium. And yes, there is a little bit of a light rain falling here in Edmonton. Well, Ron Lancaster's first year as head coach of the Edmonton Eskimos brings high expectations. And to give you an idea of what Lancaster is like, we're taking behind the scenes of the Edmonton Eskimo head coach.
Now listen, as I told you all along, we've had a good training camp, and everything was teaching. We wanted you to teach. We said we would assume a couple things coming in, that you knew how to play football when you got to this level, okay? Things you'll hear a lot of this year from me and the other coaches is intensity, whatever it takes, and a high level of performance. That's what we start today. If we're prepared during the week, and everybody knows what their assignments are, I just continually will talk to them about not making mistakes, because it's my belief that the fewest mistakes wins. However, when the game starts, if you make a mistake, let's make a good one. You know, let's make something happen, because if you're going to go out there and worry about mistakes, you're going to make more of them. That's the reason you need to learn your assignments. If you know your assignments, then you don't have to think when you get on the field. You react to the call, offensively or defensively, and you come off the ball and hit people. Other than that, it's a lot of fun to play football. Before we go out, we always have a minute silence now, and we'll have a minute silence when we come in, okay?
Cut somebody. Got a man next to me.
That's kind of been a tradition. Every team I've ever played on, all the way back to midget football. It's a chance for each of the players in that moment to do whatever they feel that they have to do. As far as the religious part of it goes, that takes care of that. If that's not the player's way, then it's to think about the game, of what the plans are, and we have one at the end of the game too. So to me, it's just something that's always been done, and I kind of like it. Okay, everybody sure what's going on? We know who's being introduced. Chris, you're first. The offense is introduced. Let's just go out and have fun, all right? This is what Eskimos are all about. They love to play games. Let's go. The game is supposed to be fun. I mean, that's something that I noticed in the first preseason game, that being away from the game for a while, I forgot how much fun it is for the players. And just being on the sidelines with them and watching their reactions on, for some reason, players get all excited at good hits, whether your team makes them or your team takes them. They get excited about that, and you forget that even though they're adults, it's a game, and they're kids, and they're out there having fun.
And it's a lot of fun for Ron Lancaster right now. His team leads 34-13. And as we take it a commercial, a look at a little CFL trivia. Who is the only Saskatchewan quarterback to throw 5 touchdown passes in a game twice? The answer is coming up. Welcome back to the game of the week. Who is the only Saskatchewan quarterback to throw 5 touchdown passes in a game on 2 occasions? It's not Ron Lancaster, it's Tom Burgess, who did it against the BC Lions and the Hamilton Tiger Cats back in 1989. Well, the Saskatchewan Roughriders could use another performance like that tonight. They're down by 21 after one half, and for their first half analysis, let's go to John Wells and Leif Pedersen.
Analyze the first half quickly. 24 Edmonton Eskimo first downs.
Well, the offense was running on all cylinders in the first half, and anything they did turned to gold. I mean, here on their second series in the first quarter, they run the fake field goal and take Saskatchewan totally by surprise. And watch the nice catch by Leroy Blue. Leroy says, I'm going to make sure I catch this. We'll worry about running later. And what happened was that set up the David Williams touchdown. Tracy Ham with all kinds of time to throw, and David Williams in our featured matchup on the night against Larry Hogue wins this battle as the 20-yard touchdown is completed by David Williams, his second of the year, and a nice start for Edmonton.
Now, you can't beat perfection, and this is a perfect pass.
Well, once again, good time to throw for Tracy Ham. And Jim Sandusky, he's a veteran. 6 years he's been in pro football. He knows how to play a defensive back. Shields Stacey Harrison off.
One-hander.
Dives, makes the one-hander. I mean, that looked great, didn't it?
All right. Now, Warman can't run, but he does here. And picks up 54 yards, but the Roughriders didn't rush much.
Oh, no, they didn't. They only had 16 yards rushing outside of this run by Rick Warman, which incidentally was a career high for him. Obviously, it was 54 yards, but the one real bright spot for them was that run, and then, of course, the following play when he will connect with Jeff Fairholm.
Yes, Warman beats the blitz here and finds Fairholm from 16 yards away. This looked easy.
Well, he made it look pretty easy. Threw it into the open area, as you see there, and he allowed Jeff Fairholm to work his way into that open area and make the catch. But, I mean, all Edmonton in that first half.
Now, why aren't the Roughriders running the football as we suggested they might?
Well, I think they wanted to initially, but, you get in a situation where you have to play catch-up. You're not going to do it in a hurry on the ground, so I think it's going to be throw for Saskatchewan.
Throw as the second half is just about to get underway here at Commonwealth in Edmonton. The Roughriders have some ground to make up. And you're back just in time for the second half kickoff. This is Jay Cox returning for Saskatchewan, and he's out to the 45. 25-yard return after a 55-yard second half kickoff. And let's see if the Saskatchewan Roughriders can regroup in a hurry and get right back in this ball game.
Well, gentlemen, you point out the telling stats. 24 first downs to Edmonton for just 9 for Saskatchewan. A couple of injury reports to pass along. Larry Hogue, strained knee, will not return. Miller of the Eskimos is being looked at, but I think he'll be okay.
Roughriders with a first down. Saskatchewan beginning at the 45. This is Milson Jones. And Leroy Blue is there for the tackle for Edmonton.
I think Leroy Blue is really going to emerge as one of the bright stars defensively in the Canadian Football League. He's in his second year now and been able to get comfortable with his Edmonton defense. Originally a first-round draft pick from Bishops. And I think with his 2 sacks already at his size at 6'2", 230 pounds, he has an unbelievable future ahead of him.
Good play there. Limited Milson Jones to a 1-yard gain. Orman has to get out of there on 2nd and 9. And he comes up short of the first down. Brett Williams getting to Warman that time. So it's 3rd down, and the Roughriders are forced to kick it away again.
And not the way they wanted to start it. I mean, they trail by 21. It's certainly not insurmountable. But I think they would have liked to have opened the 3rd quarter with a pretty good drive of their own here. And once again, it's that 2-and-out situation. The defense loves it, but gets tough. It's tough on an offense when you're 2-and-out when you're trying to play comeback.
Mike Glazecki across his 40 to kick it in the direction of Henry Williams, but Williams will not have a play. Well, Tracy Ham has had quite an evening so far. Quite a season as well. And comparing the quarterbacks at this stage of things, it's easy to see why the Eskimos lead by 3 touchdowns.
Tracy Ham has been able to buy himself so much extra time tonight by running away from pressure, and that has allowed him to have a super first half.
Eskimos with a first down at the Edmonton 29. This is Reggie Taylor, room to the outside, and Taylor has a first down. Rasevich, number 74, cut up to Reggie Taylor from behind.
14-yard gain on the play.
14 for Taylor. Here's how it looks.
Well, they pull the center, Rod Conup, and he gets the block on John Bankhead, the defensive end. He's able to hook him back to the inside, which is an unbelievable feat. And Reggie Taylor bounces it to the outside, and well, the Eskimos pick up right where they left off at the end of the 2nd quarter.
Yes, a first down Edmonton from the 43. Ham near side, David Williams. And Williams dives for a first down.
From Tracy Ham on his pass, an 11-yard gain.
Sean Dykes, number 28. In relief of Larry Hogue, made the stop on David Williams that time.
First and 10 Eskimos, ball in their own 54.
It's early in the 3rd quarter at Commonwealth in Edmonton, with the Eskimos leading the Saskatchewan Roughriders 34-13. Ham on first down. Jurison tries to track him down, slows him up, but Ham still found a way to pick up close to 5 yards.
Boy, he is a frustrating guy for us. So you see Bobby Jurison, like, wait, he just kicked the ground there. It is frustrating. They have been so close, but of course yet so far from getting sacks and any real pressure on Tracy Ham. Watch Jurison. He actually reads the bootleg pretty well, but, you know, just the foot speed is not comparable to Tracy Ham's. And
he fell for a 5-yard gain. Is what
he did. But I mean, it is frustrating for a guy like Jurison.
5 for Ham. So it is 2nd and 5 for the Eskimos. Now at the Saskatchewan 51. This is Reggie Taylor, counter play, and Taylor has another Eskimo first down. Everything is working for the Eskimo offense right now.
Well, just as they did in the opener in Saskatchewan, they were able to trap that front 4 of the Saskatchewan Roughriders with great success. There goes Blake Dermott, the left tackle. He comes all the way across, gets the kick-out block on Bobby Jurison. That allows Taylor to cut inside and bounce it back to the outside. And Reggie Taylor is having a great night. Last year missed the 1,000 mark by 27 yards. He only played 12 games, had the knee injury, but he ended up with 973.
25-yard gain for Reggie Taylor sets the Eskimos up at the Saskatchewan 25. From behind, Ham just got it away, and he has a reception. David Williams in front of Sean Dykes, and Ham was pounded just as he fired the football.
Once again, plenty of time for Tracy Ham to throw. He goes to the rollout. There's Gary Lewis, double teamed. He can't get close, and Albright can't get in on the blitz. And of course, that allows Tracy Ham all kinds of time to pick out David Williams downfield, deliver a good strike. And as they did in the first half, another good drive on the move.
An 11-yard gain for Williams. The Eskimos look for the touchdown. Williams, the intended receiver. He's got it. David Williams. Welcome to the Canadian Football League, Sean Dykes. Williams beat you a couple of times.
You know, this is very reminiscent to when David Williams had his MVP year in 1988 with the BC Lions. How many times did you see him make this catch up and over the top of defensive backs? Now, Sean Dykes is 5'10". That's the matchup again. He cannot locate the football. Williams up over the top. He's got his second of the night. Boy, he makes it look easy, doesn't he?
Third touchdown of the season for David Williams.
Wow, he's a very gifted receiver, and he uses his natural talents, which are his height, to their utmost.
And this is a bit of a runaway for the Edmonton Eskimos, who came out firing on all cylinders at Commonwealth tonight. 41-13 early in the third quarter.
It's dusk in Edmonton as we take you from downtown Edmonton back into Commonwealth Stadium, where the Eskimos are having their way with the Saskatchewan Roughriders. And that touchdown to David Williams makes it 40-13 early here in the third quarter. The drive goes 6 plays, covers 81 yards, and Williams gets his second major of the ball game.
Well, not quite dusk if you don't live in Edmonton. I suppose, you know, in the land of the Northern Lights, this would be daylight. Most other places,
dusk to me.
I think it's rather bright night. 10:42 to play, third quarter. The Eskimos leading the Saskatchewan Roughriders by a bunch. Willis Jaycox tries to get something going for Saskatchewan, but he's stopped at the 35. Willie Pless leading the Eskimo tacklers that time.
Return for the Riders. Willie Pless and Henry Miller making a stop for the Eskimos.
17-yard return.
Riders will scrimmage first and 10 from their own 30.
So let's see if Rick Warman can get the offense on track here. One touchdown so far for Edmonton and a couple of field goals. Eskimos lead at 41-13. Narcisse makes the catch, and that should be a first down.
Rick Warman to Don Narcisse. Roy Bennett covering on the play.
Narcisse has been pretty quiet tonight. Haven't really gone to him too often. I mean, he is just coming off back-to-back All-Canadian seasons, and for them to be effective, they have to get the ball in his hands quite a bit.
Well, they call him about a half a yard shy of the first down. So Narcisse, 9.5-yard gain. John Gregory thought he had a first down.
Now, he's yelling at them that they have to measure, and he's right. I mean, when it's that close, you never know. Maybe a first down, and you're thinking running play, when if it's a first down, you can, you know, go to something else. I don't blame him for yelling.
Just like you called in the first place.
Inches.
Just short of the first down.
Pick it up at the sideline. Someone said, hey, Jake's just like you called it in the first place.
Hey, Mike.
It'll be second and 7 centimeters from the
421 to 196. No wonder it's 41-13.
I think that tells it all.
Last week, the Roughriders rushed for 240 yards in a very convincing win over the Tiger Cats, 52-11. Milson Jones had 132 all by himself.
Well, you know, when the game's closer, you're leading. I mean, you can afford to pound away on the ground and pile up that yardage that way. But tonight they have been playing catch up the entire ball game, and that, of course, lends itself to passing skills of Rick Warman.
55 yards rushing for Rick Warman tonight. 1 yard on that play and 54 on the long run earlier.
That hurt his average.
Enos Jackson was through on Warman that time. There's a penalty marker on the field.
Well, that flag came down late. Be interesting to see how they call this one, but that was a late flag thrown. Might be a little extracurricular from the Edmonton Eskimos, maybe Enos Jackson. A lot of finger pointing going on.
Face mask. Edmonton number 29. First down.
Ronnie hates the call.
Well, you know what he's saying? He's saying, you know, like the official that threw the flag, he says he can't see that. He called it from way across the other side of the field. And you're going to see the left of your screen, number 29, Enos Jackson, will come in on the safety blitz. A very timely one. They don't do it too often, but very effectively. And they're saying that he grabbed the face mask underneath, and I think he did.
Here comes Milson Jones. Stop made by David Shelton, the safety. And here's Milson rolling along.
I mean, he's like that 18-wheeler that the brakes have just failed, you know, coming through that line.
Coming down the chute, through the pass.
This is fun to watch. I love this. You know, they go to the hurry-up. We can't show it to you, but he can motor for a big man.
22 for Milson Jones. Sets the Roughriders up with a 1st and 10 at the Edmonton 24. Warman escapes the rush, throwing on the run and behind Don Narcisse. Another penalty marker.
And it's deep downfield, and that usually indicates one thing: holding or interference by the defense.
Well, interference.
Forward pass interference. Edmonton number 17. First down.
The rookie Eddie Thomas.
You know, Warman was rolling to the wide side of the field. They call the interference way back there. I mean, that's one of the ones that kind of drives me crazy. But nevertheless,
Roughriders 1st and goal from the 9, and Elgard couldn't bring it down. Henry Miller was covering on Ray Elgard.
Elgard's had a pretty quiet night. Only 2 catches for him. Last year, of course, such an outstanding year with 94 receptions. But, you know, the big gunners for Regina have not got the football tonight. And I'm talking about Narcisse and Elgard.
2nd and goal to go. Saskatchewan at the Eskimo 9. Warman under the coverage for Lucius Floyd, and he is decked.
You're going to get a great look down on the field now. There's Lucius Floyd just coming out into the flat area right now, and Rick Warman picks him out, decides to go underneath that coverage, but they come up and read it quickly. Really won't matter. Elgard was offside. He jumped the gun. You probably saw that too. Well, I like that camera shot.
High over Commonwealth Stadium. We've got Don Metz.
Offside. Saskatchewan number 81. Decline. 3rd down.
And we talk about how tough these players are. Like, I give Donnie credit for getting up that high. I wouldn't be up there.
Well, we've got him strapped down.
Oh, we do? Okay.
Here's Dave Ridgway. And no mistake from that range for Dave Ridgway. The Roughriders settled for a field goal. A touchdown would have helped out a lot more. It's 41-16. Edmonton leading at this stage of things.
I'm actually mildly surprised that John Gregory wouldn't take a shot at that one. But he chooses to take the sure thing.
8 minutes to go, third quarter. Stay tuned after the game for TSN's Turning Point. Brought to you tonight by Delta Faucets Canada. Canada's leading manufacturer of superior plumbing products that bring water to life with exciting new products to make life easier in the kitchen or the bathroom. Delta, the way water is brought to life. Greg Ellis. And Ellis gets a good block and still going as he crosses the 50. Paul Bushy brought him down. Special teams have given the Eskimos excellent field position all night.
Paul Bushy making the tackle.
They've done it all year, and Craig Ellis has done a nice job returning kicks this season, along with the Gibbs. I mean that's like who do you give it to? You want to give it to Gibbs or you want to give it to Craig Ellis? I mean, you don't win either way.
33-yard return. And that sets the Eskimos up just shy of midfield at the Edmonton 54. They were all moving down there, but I think Drinkwalder started it.
Yeah, he could have taken the handoff had he wanted to.
Offside. Saskatchewan number 77. Still first down.
But it is 1st and 5 now. So that opens a few more options for Tracy Ham.
Well, it sure does. It's been that way all night. I can't really recall too many second and long situations for the Edmonton offense.
Another freight train runs loose. That's Blake Marshall. And Rasevich, number 74, put the brakes on Marshall.
You know, Blake Marshall wants to be known as not just really a second and short banger. I mean, he wants to be known as a runner. And, you know, tonight he's done a nice job with that. Coming into the game, averaging 4.8 yards a carry. That is exceptionally good for a fullback. And that time, broke a nice one off right tackle. Picked up some good yardage.
He has 13 in total. 1st and 10 Edmonton from the 39. And Reggie Taylor had nowhere to run. Bobby Jurison and Glenn Suter.
Looks like a loss of 1 on the play. It'll be 2nd and 11.
One of the few times that they've been able to trap anybody in the Edmonton backfield tonight. That time a loss of 1.
This will be 2nd and 11 Edmonton. And with time to throw, looking for David Williams. 2 already. No. Couldn't hang on to a 3rd touchdown toss. Sean Dykes was covering on David Williams.
He would like to have that one over again. You know, he's thinking he should have made that catch. And here's a great look at it. Once again, uses his height to go up, but Sean Dykes was right there, recovered nicely, and he got a hand in to break that one up. That's a good play by Sean Dykes.
3rd and 11 from the Rider 39.
Just 1 deep for the Saskatchewan Roughriders as McAreedy slips. I don't know what happened there, Leaf.
Well, he hurt himself. He just plain slipped with his left foot, his plant foot.
Embarrassing.
Yeah, well, it looks kind of funny when this happens, but it's not funny for Ray McAreedy. That's
With me is Angie Sibley and
I don't think it's going to look any different from here, but we'll give you one more view of the oops of the night.
Well, you know, it hits the Saskatchewan players, so I think they maybe get it and get a 1st down, get it back. We shall see in a few moments.
It's 41-16 Edmonton at Commonwealth. Well, little doubt about the difference thus far. Tracy Ham with 4 touchdown tosses, 2 to Williams, 1 to Sandusky, 1 to Reggie Taylor. And that all translates into a 41-16 advantage for the Eskimos. On the previous play, flags went down with Saskatchewan having too many men on the field. Ray McAreedy was in to kick. He slipped and fell. The penalty goes against the Roughriders. And this is now 3rd and 1, so the Eskimos get another crack at a first down here. 3rd down and 1 to go. And converted easily by Blake Marshall.
Yes, you got it, Blake Marshall.
So McAreedy's little embarrassment out there won't be noticed quite as much on the game film.
He's had a tough year, you know, like he missed a couple of field goals at crucial times and slips and falls on a punt. I mean, this hasn't been a bed of roses for him so far in these first 4 games. I think he hurt himself a little bit, too. It looked like his leg buckled as he slipped and fell.
My gosh, 31-13 first down. Tipped at the line of scrimmage. That's Warren Jones' first pass tonight.
Well, we knew we'd see him. We didn't know exactly at what point in the game, but here in the 3rd quarter, he gets an opportunity to play. And I mean, I think it's really a good move by Ron Lancaster. You cannot win with one quarterback alone, and give Warren Jones some playing time, so if you need him down the road, you'll have some experience.
That pass kind of ruined a perfect season for Jones, who was 4 for 4 at the end of the night.
And a streak going.
This is 2nd and 10 Edmonton. Jones on the run, far side. Sandusky. And it's no catch. Sandusky says, I caught that thing.
Boy, it sure looked like it from here now. I mean, we're a long way away, and you're going to get a great shot of it here. But I thought Warren Jones did a super job to get away from the blitz. Glenn Suter was coming on the backside. If you have a good look at it here, you be the judge. Nope, he trapped it.
Made it look good.
Yeah, good call by the officials. They were right on the spot, and of course they've added a 7th official this year to help out in just those kind of circumstances, and they come up with the right call.
Well, I hate to say this, men, but Craig Ellis is not hurt. Ray McAreedy didn't have a shoe on, so they were waving at someone to go down, and Ellis did. And as McAreedy gets laced up, I think we'll see a miracle recovery by Mr. Ellis.
Well, we'll give him the Leaper Award for best dramatic performance by a player.
I'll tell you what, he looks like he got hit by a sniper. Are you sure, Gord? Gord's been fished in already once this year by Edmonton. Henry, the Gizmo Williams, told him that it was the new shoulder pads that caused him to drop that ball on the 5-yard line. So maybe, you know, they figure they got the good setup man down there. I don't know.
He looks hurt to me.
They're not laughing, are they? No. Yeah. Now, wait a minute. Craig, don't go to the bench. You go right to Hollywood. I mean, that was good. Looks like Walter Brennan coming off the field.
Well, he carried it right to the bench. Here's McAreedy. And that one barely crossed the crossbar. It was a knuckleball for Charlie Huff McAreedy.
Yeah, wasn't pretty. Counts for 3, though.
And it's 44-16. The Eskimos in front by a bunch.
I can make music. You can?
I think Well, Tracy Ham gets a bit of a break here, as does Craig Ellis.
Yeah, I think Craig's okay. You know, he looked like he was in a lot of trouble there, but you know, he's bounced back pretty fast. The limp seems to be gone.
Well, he even had the team doctor over, though, Leif.
Yeah, well, no, they got to make it look good.
He said go down. He said go down.
Well, he spread it around pretty good tonight, hasn't he?
Yeah, it really has. But, you know, like, it's interesting. We had the question in our viewer mail on the CFL report tonight, and I forget the fellow's name, wrote in asking why are they favoring slot backs. Well, you see tonight, Tracy Ham likes the wide receivers. 11 balls caught between Jim Sandusky and David Williams. Yeah, here it was. Wayne, right from here.
Right from Edmonton, Alberta. Most quarterbacks favoring slot backs, according to Wayne. Why? I think you answered it pretty well, but then tonight, he's gone to the wideouts. At least Tracy Ham has. First down, Saskatchewan. From the 35, Warman looks deep for Fairholm. Henry Miller comes up with a fine defensive play.
The ball down and make it 2nd and 10. Riders on their own 35.
Henry Miller's been in training camp since the beginning of the season with the Edmonton Eskimos, and now getting a chance to play with all the injuries. And what a super job he does to knock that pass away intended for Jeff Fairholm. But one-on-one coverage, you can't really do it any better. He's 6 foot 205, great size for an inside safety. Gets his chance to play tonight.
So it's 2nd and 10 for the Rough Riders at the 35. Warman gets a charge this time, and he's down. Willie Pless through once more.
You can really see the difference between the two offenses tonight, and it's worth repeating. Edmonton all night, 2nd and short. Saskatchewan all night, 2nd and long, and this is what happens when you have this situation time after time. The defense just cranks it up and keeps on coming. That time Willie Pless gets the sack.
3rd sack for the Eskimos. High kick, and Lazecki shanks this one about 9 yards. So it's been slightly embarrassing on the kickers here tonight.
Yeah, they've had
punting situations.
Well, you know, Lazecki's last punt only went 28 yards because he wanted to keep it away from the Giz, and this one, this is not too pretty. Pressure coming. He sees the pressure out of the corner of his eye. You know that. And well, I mean, I guess the good news is Giz doesn't get his hands on it, but the bad news is it's kind of short.
I know exactly how he feels. I hit a 9-iron like that at Spring Lakes just the other day.
No, not you. Not you. I can't believe that.
Early movement. Flags are down. This is Ham at quarterback again. And Gordon was through. A little bit early.
Warren Jones taken
Yeah, he got there in a hurry because he's the guy they're going to call for offside coming on the blitz on the short side of the field. So once again, another
Offside. Saskatchewan number 16. Still 1st down.
Here's the difference, though. 1st and 5. I mean, you know, this has been a fun night for Tracy Ham. Give him credit, though. I mean, outside of these penalties, he's done a good job on 1st down production.
Warren Jones back in at quarterback. This is Brian Walling, slowed down by Rasevich, but he's still got enough for the 1st down. He needed 5. After the offside, 1st and 5, and the Eskimos convert once more.
You know, John, you and I had conversation with Ron Lancaster before the game tonight, and one of the things he really wanted to do was to be able to give guys like Brian Walling a chance to play tonight. Give everybody a chance. He's had Rob Davidson in there. Now Warren Jones is directing the offense, but this is great. I mean, it can only help you down the road with injury problems, which, you know, inevitably will occur.
Another Eskimo 1st down. Warren Jones, will he get caught from behind? Yes, and the ball comes loose. That was Richie Hall. The Eskimos have turned it over. 2nd turnover against Edmonton tonight.
Richie Hall's been coming all night on the safety blitz. Finally, he comes untouched, and he is able to knock the ball loose here from Warren Jones. Jones didn't have a chance, didn't see him coming from the backside. The Saskatchewan Roughriders, I believe Bobby Jurison with the recovery. And so they get a turnover.
Richie Hall causing the fumble. The Roughriders, 1st and 10 from the Saskatchewan 20. A long way to go for Rick Warman. Narcisse, the intended receiver, he couldn't stay in bounds.
It'll be 2nd and 10. Riders
again, Leaf 2nd and long facing Saskatchewan.
Can't do it. Not against this defense. I mean, you know, the secondary's had problems this year with so many new faces, but that front 7 has been the same group since day 1. And they run the good stunts, and they can put pressure on the quarterback, and this has been a terrible situation all night for Rick Warman.
Dumps it off. Lucius Floyd, and he's got a couple, but the Riders will be kicking again.
Well, defensively, they play so smart out there. Leroy Blue had a chance to make the tackle initially, and he couldn't make it, but what he did was he forced him back to the inside where he knew he'd get some help, and that's just good defense. There's Leroy Blue. I mean, I expect huge things from him in the future. He's got a great career ahead of him.
On 3rd and 7. Mike Lozecki in to kick again. Now there. Chasing the gizmo back to the 40. But he's got room to the near side. Boy, he's quick. Ran past 2 Roughriders who look to be standing still.
Begins with a 29-yard return on Mike Lozecki's 3rd down punt.
He's just a treat to watch. Watch how he sets it up, takes it upfield initially. That freezes a few of the initial tacklers, and then, of course, he breaks it to the outside. A few guys have chances at him, but he is so quick. I mean, he's the original jitterbug out there, is he not?
I would say so. 29-yard return.
Just fabulous. He is exciting.
And a light rain falling on Commonwealth Stadium right now. Another Eskimo 1st down. Craig Ellis looks healthy.
Warren Jones to Craig Ellis, again 8 yards on the play.
He looks pretty good for being near death about 5 minutes ago.
I got to ask him about that story. Yeah.
You know,
I'll
be
after the
asking
game.
him. Absolutely. So a little rain falling here at Commonwealth. Puts a damper on things for the fans. They've had a fun night, though. I mean, their team's ahead 44-16.
Into the final 21 seconds now of the 3rd quarter. Another 2nd and short situation for the Eskimos. Blake Marshall has another Edmonton 1st down.
Blake Marshall counting for the 1st down.
You know, you see Blake Marshall tonight, and of course, you know, he's had great success in those short yardage situations, but what that does for your team long term is, you know, like if it's late in the game and you're trailing, you get into another team's area, and you know, you got like 2nd and 4, you can really play 3-down football with a guy like Greg Marshall, because you know you're going to get 2-3 yards a pop, and boy, he makes life easy. I said Greg again.
You did. Blake. It's Blake Marshall, brother of Greg. Both Western grads. We've been through this. That's the end of the 3rd quarter at Commonwealth. And it's 44-16, the Eskimos in complete control. Welcome back to Commonwealth Stadium in Edmonton. The Eskimos leading the Saskatchewan Roughriders 44-16. And it's 2nd and 2 Edmonton as the 4th quarter is underway. Off target for Masadi.
Pass for Christian Masadi goes incomplete. Stacey Harrison.
The first pass thrown in his direction so far tonight.
It'll be 2nd and 10 Eskimos. Ball on Saskatchewan.
3rd quarter statistics brought to you by General Motors, and the word dominating has 2 E's in it tonight. The Eskimos with 33 first downs to Saskatchewan's 10, on the edge in total yards 406 at 217.
Warren Jones at quarterback for the Eskimos. On 2nd and 10, Jones carries himself, and he's dropped short of the 1st down at the 30. Dan Rasevich, number 74.
Good style of offense for a young quarterback. Get him to the outside, cut the field in half, and he doesn't have to read coverages as closely if he was just dropping back in the pocket there. You get a good view of it. Nice job by Dan Rasevich to cut underneath the block and make the tackle on Warren Jones, who reminds me slightly of a Warren Moon when he was a young quarterback out here. Same physical presence, same strong arm.
Slightly stronger throwing arm than Tracy Ham.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's got the better arm, no question. Tracy's got the smarts, though. He's unbelievable.
McAreedy, and he's good. A 37-yard field goal for Ray McAreedy. And it's 47-16. As the Eskimos try and bounce back from a narrow loss to the Lions last week. Edmonton 2-1 coming into the game. Saskatchewan 1-2.
You know, I think the biggest thing that they wanted to try and reestablish when they hired Ron Lancaster as their head coach was to just get back that credibility that maybe the organization had lost in the past few years. And there's no question this is a different team in 1991. His presence has helped the stability of the club. It's a different team. They're more disciplined on the field. They don't make the silly mistakes or commit the silly penalties, and you can really see this. And I think there's no question it's a tribute to Ron Lancaster and his approach.
Well, they had Tracy Ham at quarterback last year, so that really hasn't changed. But where they've changed offensively is with the two outstanding wide receivers they have in Sandusky and David Williams. Boyko on the return for the Roughriders. Gets the job done.
But you know, it's more than that, though. It's just an attitude that they had to change, and now it's a hey, yeah, we're a good team, you know, we're a cocky team, but you don't see all the talking and yapping on the field. And I think that Ronnie has certainly made it clear to his players that that's the way he wants to be.
But you know, just 97. My man, when we went 96 the last time,
After a 26-yard return by Alan Boyko, the Roughriders are first down. And Jaycox couldn't make the catch. Penalty marker is down.
Flag on the play.
Forward pass interference. Edmonton number 19. First down.
David Shelton, the safety. Caught that time.
Penalty puts the ball on the Saskatchewan 50.
You think we'll see Ted Wall, basically the third-string Rough Rider quarterback. Rick Warman at work now. Flag is down in the Rough Rider backfield as Floyd makes the catch, and he stopped well short of the first down.
Warman over the middle to Lucius Floyd. Mike McClain.
Holding is the indication against Saskatchewan.
Holding, Saskatchewan number 61. Repeat first down.
That's the newcomer Paul Vida, a rookie from Concordia.
First and 10, Riders.
It's 47-16, Edmonton leading Saskatchewan.
First and 20, ball 41.
And it's first and 20 Rough Riders. Back at the Saskatchewan 41. Warman is on target for Jaycox. And he gets most of the first down yardage.
Willis Jaycox over the middle.
Murphy made the tackle. That's Dan Murphy. 16 yards the gain, so it'll be second and 4.
Good execution. Fake the draw. And what you do is freeze those linebackers so they can't get a deep drop, and then they've got Jaycox coming across the field on the in pattern. That's good execution and good play for Rick Warman.
Second and 4, and Warman has Ray Elgard for a first down.
Dan Murphy covering for the Eskimos.
Well, no question with the big lead, the Edmonton secondary is giving the Saskatchewan receivers a lot more room than they did in the first half, and protection is good enough for Warman to find Ray Elgard coming across the field. But the coverage a lot softer here with that big lead.
Warman on first down, far side, Jaycox again.
It's only 5'7" and 180 pounds. Can you believe it? Played flag football for the past couple of years, and Minneapolis was working as a salesman at the Foot Locker down there and decided he wasn't finished with pro football. Gave John Gregory a call and said, "Coach, can I come to training camp?" And he said, "Sure can." What does he do? Makes the starting lineup.
First and 10, Rough Riders at the Eskimo 27. Warman takes a flip back pass and then fires for Milson Jones.
Warman trying to find Milton Jones. Set back Lucius.
Flag down at the 10-yard line. Little defensive pass interference, perhaps.
Yeah, they gave Jeff Fairholm a pretty rough ride down around the goal line. Enos Jackson was there. Don't think he's too happy with that call. It's probably going against him.
Warman handed off and then took a return flip back and passed to Milson Jones. That play didn't work, but the penalty is likely
Forward
going
pass
against
interference. Edmonton number 29. First down.
Enos Jackson. So it'll be halfway to the goal line.
Moves the ball to the Eskimo 10-yard line. First and goal, Riders.
Just inside the 10. The Roughriders. First and goal to go for Lucius Floyd. And he got maybe a yard. Dan Murphy up to make the tackle, number 3. He's a newcomer from Acadia.
Now, one of the bright spots, if there have been any for Saskatchewan tonight, of course, the play of perennial all-star Roger Aldag, been in the league 16 seasons, and there a nice job on Mike Walker. 5-time All-Canadian, 5 consecutive years he's been an All-Canadian.
Warman in trouble and down. He lost the ball. I think the Eskimos have it. First down, Edmonton. The toaster was through. And Rob Davidson also in on the play. Interesting here.
Well, Danny Bass comes right up the gut, and the only guy that can pick him up is the quarterback, Rick Warman. He pays the price. Will take the sack. The ball comes loose. And I think the toaster, Brett Williams, came up with the recovery. It looks like it. They're giving him the pat on the back.
Well, a light rain falling on Commonwealth Stadium, but it's not raining on the Eskimos parade. Edmonton leading Saskatchewan 47-16.
At Commonwealth Stadium from the lights, and I know Don will be tuned in for our next telecast here on TSN. That comes your way from Regina as the Roughriders take on the Rocket and the Argos. August 9th at 9:30 Eastern Time, the Argos and the Riders.
Pretty interesting game tomorrow night out in BC Place with the BC Lions hosting the Argonauts.
Yeah, the Argos watching this one might be licking their chops looking ahead 1 week. The way Saskatchewan has performed tonight.
6-3. That's ticket number 234.
Well, his club has played well. He's got a nice lead in the fourth quarter here, 47-16 for Ron Lancaster's Eskimos. Haven't made too many mistakes throughout the course of this ball game. His club has.
Eskimos have turned it over a couple of times, Leaf, but it really hasn't been all that costly.
The only turnover early cost him 3 points on an Abe Ridgway field goal. That was never a factor in this game.
47-16. The Eskimos leading, and they have the ball at the 22. Michael Souls out across the 42.
What a luxury for the Edmonton Eskimos to get all their players some playing time here with the big lead. Michael Souls gets in. Christian Mazzotti is now in at slot back. Everybody getting a chance to play. Builds team unity. Everybody feels like they are a part of the team and making an important contribution. Warren Jones getting a chance to play a lot of quarterback tonight.
And there's 10:31 to go in the fourth quarter. And this is Brian Walling, another Canadian running back. Another first down across midfield. Dan Rasevich making the stop on Walling.
The Edmonton offensive line has just clearly dominated the Saskatchewan front four tonight. Once again, good blocking up front. They don't even block the outside defensive end. You get a great view of it there as Brian Walling picks his way downfield, and Eskimos back-to-back first downs with Michael Souls and Brian Walling.
Right at midfield, first and 10 Edmonton. And this is Souls. Not quite as successful that time. Bankhead made the stop with Richie Hall helping out.
Tackled on the play by John Bankhead.
Gain of 2. This will be 2nd and 8. Eskimos head east next week for a date with the Hamilton Tiger Cats on Saturday. makes the catch. Christian Masadi.
He's had a fair bit of playing time so far this year. That's only his 4th reception. Get the nice average going, 24.7. That's not too shabby.
Offside. Saskatchewan number 79. Decline. First down.
Eskimos will take the first down from Christian Masadi, number 75.
Jordan Gardner started the season as the slot back, and then Masadi slowly took over from him, and now Marco Sintkar, now that he is healthy once again, started tonight, but Masadi getting a lot of playing time.
And the Eskimo drive continues with 8:33 to go in the 4th quarter. 1st and 10 at the Saskatchewan 44. Brian Walling brought down by Dave Albright. 5 yards the game.
Well, the Saskatchewan defense still trying to pressure Edmonton. They're bringing Glenn Suter up on the line of scrimmage. Richie Hall is blitzing on pretty near every play, but you know, Craig Ellis, the slot back, you know, he even gets a bit of a block. Sluter will end up being in on the tackle, but Saskatchewan has tried to put pressure all night on the Edmonton backfield. They just haven't been able to come through with it.
On 2nd and 5, Jones fired behind Craig Ellis.
Warren Jones pass attempt intended for Craig Ellis goes incomplete.
I'll give Warren Jones credit. He didn't complete the pass, but he certainly read what was happening quickly. The safety blitz once again.
Always an adventure. Our apologies for some transmission difficulties, but there is lightning in the area of Commonwealth Stadium tonight. You really haven't missed very much, except the Ray McAreedy 51-yard field goal attempt that went wide. 7:19 to play. And the Eskimos have this thing just about wrapped up. The stormy skies, the scary nights in northern Alberta.
Gives everybody a chance to play and win prizes ranging from Pepsi products to Eskimo ticket discounts. A lot of help from Canada.
Not a scary night for him.
No, he's had a great evening from just about every player on his football team.
Well, the team looks so well prepared, and not to say that Saskatchewan isn't well prepared, but Ronnie's team looks very polished. John Gregory's team, on the other hand, is suffering through some bad stages here. They picked it up last week, but tonight just could not answer the bell. Ronnie's team, boy, they look good. It's going to be a great race out in the Western Conference. You get the BC Lions, who have cranked it up. Calgary, of course, still undefeated. Edmonton Eskimos will be 3-1 after tonight. Western Conference, tough again.
Well, Ted Wall is in at quarterback for the Saskatchewan Roughriders, number 11 from South Dakota. And Wall intended that for Ray Elgard. He's off the mark.
David Shelton covering for the Eskimos.
Remember Gil Fenerty, who had some great years with the Toronto Argonauts?
Absolutely.
Then he's still playing with the New Orleans Saints now. He played for the Bolzano Jets in Italy. That's where he went from university. Guess who else played for the Bolzano Jets?
You're going to tell me number 11.
Yeah, Ted Wall did. How about that? They probably were teammates over there at one time.
Well, Wall faces 2nd and 10 now, and a long way back for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. On the run, Wall looks long for Elgard. He's got him. Ray Elgard inside the 40. Well, that gets a rookie quarterback pretty excited.
Well, he did a nice job to get away from the pressure. Watch as he moves to the outside and gets away from the pressure. Throws a good strike. Little push by Ray Elgard there on David Shelton, and he comes up with the reception.
And a 48-yard gain for Saskatchewan. It's 47-16. Edmonton leading the way with 6:17 to play, 4th quarter. Wall looking for Fairholm, and Fairholm draws a flag.
A lot of pushing and bumping going on down the secondary, and I'll tell you, Jake Ireland threw another flag. I think you saw right there, and that'll be for objectionable conduct. Too much talking. Jake is tough out there. Like, he will not let this game get out of hand, and anybody who says the wrong thing, Jake will give the 15 in a hurry. I mean, you had the Toronto-Winnipeg game last week. Could have had a lot of fireworks. Guess who was the official?
Forward pass interference. Edmonton number 19. Objectionable conduct. Edmonton number 29. First down.
Enos Jackson and David Sheldon. Shelton drawing the interference. Jackson the objectionable conduct. The Roughriders are first and goal to go from the 9 with Ted Wall looking to the end zone. Touchdown! Ray Elgard. Hold on, though. Penalty marker down. Looks like it's going against the Eskimos.
I think Mike McLean came in and gave Ted Wall a late hit. They're going to call it on him, but that's a good throw by Ted Wall to Ray Elgard.
6 receptions for 95 yards for Elgard. And the touchdown now.
Roughing the passer, Edmonton number 45. The penalty will be applied on the convert.
So that was Mike McLean, a reserve linebacker, getting a chance to play. Gave Ted Wall a late hit. Didn't matter really because Ted Wall connected with Ray Elgard on a nice corner pattern for the touchdown.
Well, an impressive scoring drive for Ted Wall. Got a little help with penalties, but he got the 6 points and goes for 2 more now. Wall will carry to the end zone himself, and that's 2 more for the Rough Rider total. So with 6 minutes to go, it's now 47-24.
Well, good for a young quarterback to get some experience, even though they're not going to win the football game. He does a nice job there delivering a strike to Ray Elgard. Good pass pattern. He gets in behind the newcomer, Henry Miller. And the Rough Riders get a touchdown on a good throw by Ted Wall.
Still a long way back for the Rough Riders of Saskatchewan, trailing 47-24.
Ted Wall got some help from his friends, the Flags. Penalty's a big part of that drive, but Wall will take it nonetheless as he hooks up with Ray Elgard for the 8-yard score, going 4 plays and 83 yards.
All right, at 47-24, do they try the short one? No. This is Craig Ellis. And it's a little slippery down there right now.
Craig Ellis with a 14-yard
real grass
return.
at Commonwealth Stadium. 13-yard return, 45-yard kickoff.
So Craig Ellis late in the 4th quarter will get a rest from his offensive duties.
First and 10.
I think he's still laughing about when he went down with the injury. I think maybe he is.
Well, another Eskimo first down. Just inside the 45. Michael Soul, number 32.
Michael Souls, the ball carrier.
Richie Hall is there, and so is Dan Rasevich.
Dan Rasevich and Richie Hall on the stop for the Riders.
Well, I'll still never forget Michael Souls back in the Vanier Cup in 1987 with the McGill Redmen. 203 yards rushing on 25 carries that day. Had a couple of touchdowns, and of course that was a new rushing record in that game. They did win the Vanier Cup too that afternoon.
Final numbers on Rick Warman are in.
It'll be second and
for right now anyway. 17 of 28 for 157 and 1 TD. You know, not bad on some nights. Not great, but if the running game had worked a little bit better. Third and 1, or second and 1, I should say, and the Eskimos have another first down.
Appears to be a first down, and it is.
Well, I think as you look back on Rick Warman's night, it's a simple fact of, every time he looked up, it was second and long, and you just cannot win a lot of ball games playing that way. On the other hand, the Eskimos tonight have been able to pick up great yardage on first down, and for both Warren Jones and Tracy Ham, it's been a pretty easy night.
And the Eskimos have run the ball well, with 219 so far.
They usually do.
Here's Walling. And he is most of the way to another first down.
Brian Walling muscles out 7 yards.
Rasevich.
James Kane making a tackle.
Well, the offensive line's had a great night for Edmonton. There's Trevor Bowles on John Bankhead, the newcomer. Bowles collapses him to the inside, and that allows Brian Walling to cut up the inside. And good blocking. Bowles a huge guy, 6'5", 280 pounds. He's been with the club 5 years, anchoring down that right tackle spot. An offensive line, the entire group has had an excellent night.
2nd and 3. And Marshall carried. Forced out by Albright.
You look back to the first game when Edmonton pulled out a victory in Saskatchewan. I really think it was the fact that the offensive line ended up dominating that game. And tonight they're doing the same thing. They've afforded both quarterbacks plenty of time to throw and have opened up some great holes for all the running backs tonight. I mean, Walling and Souls, Marshall, Reggie Taylor, they've all had a chance to carry the football. Boy, is that ever good for harmony on your offense, you know, giving everybody a chance to play and contribute.
3rd down, a little better than a yard to go. And another Eskimo first down. Blake Marshall once more. He's been busy. 10 carries for Marshall.
That'll be 1st and 10. Eskimos ball on the Saskatchewan 42.
Marshall has 63 yards. Nifty little 6.3-yard average tonight.
Thanks for being part of tonight's game. The Esks are on the road for a pair of Eastern games in the next couple of weeks. Saturday, August the 10th.
There's an amazing total right there. They'll likely finish with 40 first downs.
That is a tremendous night's work for their offense. 40 first downs. I mean, that's, you know, you're talking a game and a half's worth right there.
3:02 to play, and the Eskimos have this one just about wrapped up at 47-24.
And a reminder for Sports Select's Girls Night Out with the Eskimos, scheduled for the Edmonton Inn.
Tracy Ham was great early. Warren Jones has not looked out of place at all, has he?
No, he hasn't. You know, going back to our conversation with Ron Lancaster before the game, you know, he talked about his days as a quarterback in Regina, and he and I both reminisced back to the fact that when he left, there was nobody able to take over from him right away, and it cost Regina for about 4 years, and he certainly doesn't want that to occur here, so consequently Warren Jones getting some much-needed playing time.
The other point, too, we spoke about earlier, Leaf, is the health of the CFL quarterback. It is not real easy to last all 18 games in this league.
Yeah, like you don't want to wish any quarterback bad luck, but, you know, the style of our game is suited that there are a lot of running quarterbacks around, and they are very vulnerable, and to have one guy play 60 minutes of all 18 games is very improbable.
2 of the great quarterbacks in the league are on the sidelines already. Kent Austin with Saskatchewan, Matt Dunnigan with the Argos.
Yeah. Boy, I'd like to see Dunnigan back playing. I hope he gets healthy soon.
1st and 10, Edmonton at the 42. Jones on target. Paul Masadi, or rather Christian Masadi, brother of Paul.
So we got the brother acts going tonight. Greg, Blake Marshall, we got Paul and Christian Masadi.
And we got the twin Boykos on this Saskatchewan team.
Forgot about them.
Alan and Bruce.
We haven't talked about them tonight. I guess they haven't done anything.
Well, Bruce is the backup to Ray Elgard, so he hasn't seen a lot of action. He's 6'1". Alan Boyko, his twin brother, is a couple of inches shorter and is the backup to Willis Jaycox. Here's Blake Marshall. A big ramble here as Marshall crosses inside the 10. Cornerback Sean Dykes.
That's what he wants people to realize that he can do, is to bounce it to the outside, and even at 230 pounds have the speed to run away from people. And you know, he says, look, hey, I'm a bashing, bruising fullback, no doubt about that, but I too can run to the outside. He's shown it a number of times tonight. He's had a great evening.
With 2:22 to go, the Eskimos are gunning for 50. Marshall closes in on 100 yards. The Eskimos are closing in on 50 points. Penalty marker down as Walling carries for a couple.
3 yards. James Cheney was tackled. Flag line down.
2:15 to play.
Holding. Edmonton number 50. First down repeated.
Not many penalties have gone against the Eskimos. Certainly not in crucial situations.
No, that's the first holding penalty I think that's been called on Edmonton tonight. Blake Dermott, the left tackle, gets called with that one. But penalties have never been a factor for them tonight.
Jones on target once more. And David Williams is close to a first down. Actually, he's down to the 5.
Boy, this is a dart, too. Watch Warren Jones steps up and just drills it on the quick post to David Williams. You know, you can't really cover it any better than that, but David Williams with his good size screens off Sean Dykes, and he has another catch.
That's 8 on the evening for David Williams.
He'll like that.
And it's second down and goal to go Eskimos from the 5. Sandusky, another touchdown. His second, reminiscent of his first. Same end zone and right on the dead ball line.
Yeah, did a nice job to stay in bounds, and a good throw by Warren Jones. Stacey Harrison allows Sandusky to come all the way across the field and get underneath him. Harrison not even close as Sandusky gets his second touchdown reception of the night, and that empties this place in a hurry. They've enjoyed what they saw. It's time to go home.
53 points on the scoreboard for the Eskimos. And Ray McAreedy makes it 54. A 30-point advantage for the Edmonton Eskimos.
Eskimo fans like what they're seeing tonight, especially from number 2 quarterback Warren Jones, who directs a 10-play, 66-yard drive and caps it off with a touchdown pass to Jim Sandusky.
Number 2 for Sandusky on the night. Williams has 2. Just about everything has gone perfectly.
I can't think of anything that they could be disappointed about. Special teams have been good. Look at how they cover kicks there. Done a great job in that department. Everything's gone perfectly for them.
Alan Boyko on the return for the Saskatchewan Roughriders with 1:35 to go.
This is one of these games, you know, where you go back in the locker room and you say, geez, I hope we can do this again next week.
Well, there's a chance the Eskimos take on the Tiger Cats Saturday.
Oh, I'd say that's a pretty good chance. Hamilton really struggling.
Next game for the Roughriders is at home to the Argos.
We'll be there.
Week Friday.
Yep. Friday night football at Taylor Field.
Here's Ted Wall at quarterback for Saskatchewan. Bennett had a shot at it. It was a little high for Don Narcisse.
I mean, that pass was so bad, Bennett couldn't even catch it.
Second and 10, Riders ball at their own 38.
That's being mean.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, okay, I take it.
Not like you.
Oh, really? Roy Bennett had 13 interceptions for the Bombers back in 1987. That led the league.
He missed last week's game with an injury, but is back. Wall rolling to the left and fired low.
That was worse.
Jaycox.
That was worse.
Willis Jaycox
Got him right in the foot.
Incomplete.
Tough to catch him down there. I mean, I know Willis is good.
On the coverage for the Eskimos.
He's not that good.
They'll make it 3rd and 10 from the Saskatchewan 38.
So that's all for Ted Wall for now. Mike Lasecki enters one more time, and his average has hit rock bottom tonight. one 14-yard kick. Henry Williams. John Hoffman forcing the gizmo out of bounds with 1:13 to go.
See, they're having some fun with him over there. You know, the guys on the other teams, they like the giz too. You know, they appreciate his marquee value for our league and how he excites the fans in all parks across the league. And, you know, you see him coming off the field laughing. I know Milson Jones was giving him a little juice on the sidelines there, saying, hey, you know, you're not going to run one back on us. But he's had a good night on special teams, Henry Williams.
Has a good night most every night, as a matter of fact.
I think the bad night would be the exception, wouldn't it?
For Henry Williams, it is. Eskimos with another first down. Michael Souls is close to 7. 1:06 to play, fourth quarter.
It'll be 2nd and 3 from the Eskimo 47.
Riders came into the game tonight leading the league in quarterback sacks with 14, only 1 tonight.
Tells me the offensive line of the Eskimos has done a great job. We've mentioned that.
Brian Walling stopped short of a first down on 2nd and 3.
Brian Walling comes right back at him. Gain of a couple at least.
Also tells me why they're losing so big. They need to rely on pressure from that front four, and they just haven't been able to get it.
Bobby Jurison in on the side.
And that Eskimo secondary has played reasonably well tonight with all the changes they've had back there. Henry Miller making his first start. Eddie Thomas, his first start at right corner.
You know, Rich Stubler's the defensive coordinator, and I know it's frustrated him only in the fact that they cannot run all their defenses. I mean, they can't be overly sophisticated with all the changes they make every week, and yet they have not been hurt by all those changes. They've played very well back there.
Another first down, this for Blake Marshall on 3rd and 1. It's the 41st first down tonight. You're right, Leaf. That's a couple of games, isn't it? First down production reaching 41.
Boy, it sure is. That's a game and a half for sure.
1st and 10, Eskimos.
54-24. Edmonton running out the final 14 seconds against the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
You know, you talk about their game in Hamilton next week. We have that one as well. So we will see Saskatchewan and Edmonton again next week.
Back-to-back nights, Friday and Saturday, beginning with the Argos and Saskatchewan on Friday, and then Hamilton and the Eskimos Saturday. Most first downs by one team in the CFL record book is 44. So the Eskimos with the zeros on the clock will miss, tying that record by a couple. Ron Lancaster has his 3rd victory as the head coach of the Edmonton Eskimos. And the Eskimos do it in convincing style over the Roughriders tonight.
Time now for the TSN Turning Point, brought to you by Delta Faucet of Canada. Early second quarter. The Eskimos lead 14-6 when Tracy Ham looks to the end zone and finds Jim Sandusky deep. Ham hooks up with him for the 24-yard touchdown as Sandusky makes a great catch, puts the Eskimos up 21-6, and they never look back. A cash donation will be made to the Coaching Association of Canada for training and development of coaches in amateur sport on behalf of TSN and Delta Faucet. Delta, the way water is brought to life. The final score, Edmonton over Saskatchewan, 54-24. We'll be back to Commonwealth Stadium in just a moment. Our next telecast comes to you a week Friday, August 9th at 9:30 Eastern, as the Toronto Argonauts are in Regina to take on the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Our final score in Edmonton, the Eskimos defeat the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Final score, 54-24. The Game of the Week on TSN is brought to you by GMC Trucks, the trucks more people lean on. And by 7-Up, it's cool to be clear.